What's up, people? World famous jingle. You already know what that sound means. JV Wins and Dogon SS. We are here for the latest edition of the Conscious Approach channel on YouTube. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Shouts out to everybody who has been hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button, following along with us on this journey as we continue to produce logical content here in our little corner of the internet. Whether you like or dislike some of the views represented within the confines of this channel, we nevertheless will always appreciate the engagement, provided that it is constructive engagement, of course. So we thank everybody out there who has been subscribing to the channel. This is how we rock. This is how we roll. And to anyone who is checking out our content for the first time, thank you in advance if you are so inclined to subscribe to the channel, to hit the like button on any of the commentary or any of the content, and leave any of the comments that you would like to leave. Let us know what you think about any of the things that we like to say, or just voicing your general opinion or take on any of the topics that are presented here on this channel. Before we get things started, as always, I do want to remind everybody that you can now check us out on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Just trying to be available anywhere and everywhere, so that if you're not in position to check us out on YouTube, you can slide the headphones on and listen to us audio style. So if you're driving in the car, you're working out in the gym, you're running errands, and you're doing your thing, and you're otherwise not able to watch videos on YouTube, check us out on those outlets, man. We are there. We are live and in effect. And we also appreciate the engagement over in those areas as well. So with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and dispense with the pleasantries and get right into it. JV Wins, Dogon SS. We are going to kick things off this evening with comments made by a hip-hop personality named Young Miami. Not only is she... Are the city girls still a thing? Aren't some of them fighting with each other or something?
I assume they're still a thing, but I think they're more disjointed than anything. You know, I don't think they're like, I'm not anticipating a City Girls album anytime.
Right. Yeah, I know that. I think that there was some little argument going on back and forth. I don't really keep up with it to that degree. Mm-hmm. But Young Miami is a member of the City Girls. She's probably doing her thing more nowadays, less for music and more for having like her own TV show, that little Carisha Please show that she has, where she gets other people in the hip-hop space and celebrity space to spill some tea. And she made interesting waves lately because she was a guest on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay show, and she talked about relationship stuff. And one of the things that she said that caught people by surprise, or not, depending on your perspective, is when she says that, you know, cheating is not a deal breaker for her. You know, if she's with somebody and this person and a man cheats on her, it isn't an automatic "I'm out of here" type of situation. She basically said it's nuanced. It depends on the circumstances. But essentially, if you're a cheater, she basically said you get 4 times to do it before she considers leaving.
That's the golden number, huh?
Yeah. So she gave a specific number saying, you know, a guy can cheat 4 times before I consider leaving. Because cheating, you know, is not necessarily the worst thing in the world, depending on the circumstances. And it's got a lot of people going back and forth. A lot of people on the internet came for her in this way, because a lot of people were like, what do you mean you can give a guy 4 times to cheat? And so she doubled down on it. She clarified what she meant by this comment. So we'll go ahead and contextualize it a little bit real quick before we provide our takes on it. So this says, Young Miami responds to social media's outcry about her opinion to take man back after cheating multiple times. Young Miami isn't quick to walk away from a relationship over infidelity. During her interview on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp, she made it clear that cheating alone isn't a deal breaker for her. The internet, unsurprisingly, erupted over the revelation. The City Girls rapper defended her stance, explaining that she believes all men cheat and that women do too. I'll give him a second chance. Everybody cheats. Women cheat too. We just don't get caught. She argued that women are better at concealing their affairs and admitted she's not the type to leave after a single betrayal. I'm not leaving my man for cheating once. I'm probably going to give him like 4 times, she added. Sharp, visibly shocked, responded with an exaggerated damn before joking about getting her number, of course.
Yeah.
Young Miami doubled down on her views in a follow up video. She pushed back against criticism, pointing out that most people have dealt with infidelity. So instead of reading these quotes, I'm just going to go ahead and play this video. So this pretty much sets the stage for what we're going to be talking about here as she defends herself against those who are criticizing the fact that she said she'd give a guy 4 times to cheat before she thought about leaving the situation. Oh, and warning beforehand for suggestive language for anybody who is cringy when it comes to certain words. Just want to throw that out there because she is she is a bit of a potty mouth. Okay, so here we go.
The interview, I said I get like my nigga got like 4 times to cheat on me before I leave, and the internet love to be, oh my god, she's so motherfucking dumb. In reality, we all done got cheated on the stage. Everybody if you really in love with your nigga, you locked in, y'all been together, it's not easy to walk away. You got some women that's going to get the fuck on. Yeah. Some women that's going to. The first time they man cheat, they're out. It's easy to walk away. Like after you done built something with somebody, y'all done been together for so long, it hurts. Of course, you want to leave, but you're not just want to leave. Like y'all love to get on the internet. Oh, bitch, you so motherfucking dumb. You said 4 times. Yes, bitch. I know plenty of bitches in a relationship they get cheated on right now or been cheating on, and they know they nigga cheating. Some women just not leaving a man. My first time is like, you hurting me. I can't believe you would do this to me. Okay, cool. We probably gonna get back together, but our relationship will never be the same. Mm-hmm, right. It's never gonna be the same. Second time it's like oh, okay, so you a cheater. Third time, I'm already cheating back. Fourth time out the door, you got to go, bitch.
What?
So that's her formula. That's her formula. That's her Pythagorean theorem.
I see.
Yeah. First time, it'll never be the same. Second time, oh, you're a cheater too. Third time, oh, I'm cheating with you, and then fourth time, then I'm out. Then I'm gone. Beyond the cheating debate, Young Miami sparked more conversation this week when she posted a video of her daughter's father, producer Southside, showering her with Chanel gifts. The clip, part of her promo for the viral sound "Take Me to Chanel," left fans speculating about their relationship. The timeline of the video remains unclear, but Southside's rumored girlfriend, Oh So You Jade, not sure who that is, didn't seem thrilled. Southside and Miami were together on New Year's Eve as speculation swirls about Young Miami's past and present relationships. One thing is certain, she's unbothered by public opinion. So what do you make of her equation there, her deductive reasoning? The 4 strikes and you're out, as opposed to, the more conservative approach, which is that it's an automatic deal breaker.
I mean, that's her. That's her world. It makes sense to her. I force her magic number, so that's what she's willing to do. I think everybody has their own magic number. Some people only need the one. Some people like her need 4. Now, why the 4th? I don't know why that's her golden number, but it is. But I would also caveat this conversation, especially coming from Young Miami, is that we're dealing with the celebrity world where all rules for the average civilian, pretty much goes out of the window. And then on top of that, she dated the diddler. So she openly admitted to golden showers for pay.
She retract, for what it's worth, she retracted that.
That's fair. I mean, there are pending litigations. So, she doesn't want to be associated with that, which I understand. But hey, when that post came out, she said it with pride. I'll tell you that much. So, we got to see who we're dealing with here, for what that's worth. But, I pretty much echo this level of conversation, whenever we talk about the Neo situation, or like when we talked about the Omarion situation, when he was sitting out there talking about some, men got to spread their seeds and all that. And by the way, guys, do yourselves a solid, man, and go watch some of that content because we be dropping flyer flames on those things. But yeah, man. So I really think that when it comes to this current dating market, or honestly, if you look historically, I'll get a little historical too. But when you look at the current dating market, there's so much stimuli out there in the world. There's so many influences that people have on both sides of the spectrum, both men and women. They're both getting their fair share of temptations, and a lot of people in the dating pool are exploring their options. And I'm pretty sure that there's some pretty good relationships that are going on initially before one or both parties start to explore options. Then once one person gets outed, somebody's phone gets searched, somebody got pulled up on, private investigator, you name it, situations go down. And then now those relationships that were pretty solid, outside of the infidelity part, those people break up. And so I really think that some people need to be honest and understanding about where they're at, like I always say, and be a little bit honest and forthcoming before everything, goes down. And then, maybe some of these relationships would be salvaged. Once people start talking about, open relationships and all, I ain't going to be open. It's like, well, you're already doing it. So, it don't sound good. It sounds nasty, but you live nasty and you're just not willing to admit it. So, you a lot of people live openly, especially if you're dating. Like, let's say if you're dating, you meet this person, you take them out on a date, you like how they go, you like how they move, you like how they talk, or whatever. You take out on 3 dates. You've been talking for 3-4 weeks. She let you smash. You think you're the only guy? You're not. You just came about. There's somebody else around or more. And so because you guys are in a talking phase and all this and that, all these little things to make people feel better about themselves. But yeah, you're in an open relationship at that point. So, but oh no, man, once we become committed to one another, they have to drop their people and all this. And listen, man, there's some people that are just doing situationships and they don't want to admit that. Knowing damn well that person, when you just ghost them for 2 or 3 weeks, that they doing their own thing while you're doing your own thing, while you're ghosting them for 2 to 3 weeks. Like, there's so much of that going on right now. So I really think that people need to be honest and open with that, and still have yourself a solid relationship somehow, some way. Don't ask me. I'm no guru or coach, but I do think that instead of everybody just throwing a baby out with the bathwater, there needs to be a situation where people are actually, trying to build something out of that. And I do think it'll be less homes broken up, less domestic situations, a whole bunch of other things. If people were just being more mature and honest about the fact that they, want to explore options. So that's not everybody in the dating pool, but it's a large portion of it, I would say. And so I got a little something to say about the old school, how things went back then. But I'll let you get a little spill on this, man. What are your thoughts about Young Miami out here saying that, hey, man, she'll let somebody cheat up to 4 times? What are your thoughts, boss?
Yeah, far be it from me to agree with anything that this chick has to say, but this to me is sensible. And you're right. You're right when you say the dating rules for celebrity world doesn't necessarily apply to the dating rules of the civilian world. However, we also must take into account the fact that a lot of civilians fancy themselves dating in a very celebrity-like fashion.
That's true,
so,
sir. Very
so
true.
yes, so nowadays a lot of civilians, men and women, this is everybody. I'm not trying to go at either sex here, but everybody who is a civilian tends to these days fancy themselves dating in a very celebrity-like fashion. I think a lot of people approach dating and this is, I don't agree with this. I'm just stating that this is kind of the way things are for a large amount of people who classify themselves as single and dating. They tend to approach it from a comparisons perspective. They they look at their own dating lives through the lens of other individuals' dating lives, from afar or up close, depending on if you know individuals in person. They compare what they see online as well as what they see on TV and on their various devices to what they would like to experience. And then they adjust their dating lives accordingly. I think this causes people to date in a very unrealistic way. I think for women, they view their personal dating lives through the lens of a arms race for resources and attainment of a particular kind of lifestyle. And I think for guys, it's much more simple. It's just what the chick looks like. If you spend enough time getting overexposed, overstimulated via what you're seeing in your feeds or what you're hearing in your music or what you're seeing on music videos, if you're still the type of person that watches music videos, you're so overstimulated by the visual images of women that you see via the various forms of media that you consume, that now that shapes the way that you acclimate your own personal dating life. So it isn't good enough to just find good women to date where you can. You now need to find good women to date who look like what you constantly see in your feeds all the time. So I think that the respective ways that each of us, through the prisms of our respective realities, approach dating creates an environment in which we myopically, go about incorporating dating into our daily lives. And I think once we all start doing that, we kind of default to being daters in a very celebrity, famous person, influencer like fashion.
Mm.
So even though the rules of celebrity world don't apply to the rules of civilian world, because everybody who's a civilian is low key or high key trying to quasi date in a celebrity like way, we're all kind of doing the same thing. And since we're all doing the same thing, there should be an anticipation that you are going to amend how you feel about certain things that you used to believe, that you used to think were black and white, such as infidelity. Because when you're dabbling in that world and you're maintaining all of these options, as you put it, and you're dating on the internet as well as in person, and you're dating via DMs as well as on the phone, and you're dating via your social media networks and your OnlyFans pages, as well as via phone conversations and text messages. Like when you're mixing all of that up, you have to realize that you're consorting with other humans who conduct their dating lives the same way that you do. So if you have options, then those individuals have options too. And you have to put yourself in a reasonable position. If you are unwilling, even if you're dating somebody who is cool and exhibiting good qualities, if even with that going on, you're unwilling to relinquish your options because you just need to have that in your back pocket just in case, or you just want to have it around because you want to maintain the option because that's the energy that you want to live in, you should also understand that that person whom you met via those very same means is probably going to do the same thing. And at that point, does it really make a ton of sense for you to maintain the position that cheating is a deal breaker on the first offense? Probably not. Now, if you want to maintain that position, you should probably reorient your dating preferences so that you're dating in a more realistic, holistic way. But as we know nowadays, most humans don't. Most humans in the current meta world don't date in the traditional wholesome sense. They date in the advanced technological, you know, what's that word I'm looking for? The advanced technological, polygamous, polyamorous way. Where it's all about an arms race for either visual stimulation, physical stimulation, or resources and lifestyle stimulation, respectively speaking, on both men and women. So when you're doing it in a superficial manner like that, you should maintain the same position that she did, which is it shouldn't be a deal breaker. Now, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong or fair or unfair. I am just saying that that is the reality when you are conducting yourselves relationally in this manner. And I do believe nowadays, except for people who are raised conservatively and taught to prioritize things like family and loyalty and honesty, which people still do that, but by and large, it's all about liberal freedom and everybody doing whatever they want. So, because it's all about liberal freedom and everybody doing what they want, I think that this is a sensible way to look at it. You know, now if you establish ground rules with a person and set expectations, I won't do this, therefore my expectation is that you don't do this, and they violate those expectations, then I don't think it's unreasonable at that point for you to say, okay, well, it's a fireable offense on the first time because we established ground rules and you violated on those ground rules. But going at it all willy nilly, where you are dating this person semi seriously, situationships as you phrased it, but you still got your options and you know you're doing this. People know they're doing this. So you're approaching it willy nilly like this, all laissez faire, and you got your options. You don't think that other person probably has their options too?
Right.
So it is what it is. Is she the greatest example for what functional relationships look like? Absolutely not. But if we're juxtaposing it to modern day dating and how things typically play out with the way people live their lives currently, as weird, crazy, odd as it sounds, uh, something such as cheating for everybody who's living like this really should be reevaluated because no one is even dating in a traditional sense.
No,
So,
they're not.
so what reason do you have to look at cheating in the traditional sense?
Agreed. I mean, at 1,000, bro. So, again, we're dealing with, Dubai porta potty, uh, golden shower, young Miami, man. So, again, she's not the gold standard of, how people should look at relationships. But yeah, I do think people need to reevaluate. And that's a key point that you made there that, yeah, the way that people are doing relationships right now are far from standard. We're not courting anymore. We're not doing things how we were raised to do them things. So why should cheating also be looked at in the same vein? So yeah, I agree with that, man. Right now we're dealing with the age of bad pH. We're dealing with the age of bad pH. You know what I'm saying? It's not as much fresh box out there as it used to be. That's because everybody's sharing. And these people can sit here and lie all they want, but one of the women that are going to be sitting here, hollering from the rooftop that, oh, y'all crazy, cheating, your pH off. Don't sit here and tell me what to think when you're out here living the same way. And so people just need to be honest about that. And when I was saying before, about the old school way of things, and back in the day, man, grandma and grandpa, we don't know what was going on in their bedroom. We don't know what was going on. Sally Mae at the church was giving it up to grandpa, and grandma knew about it. And there was probably some drama going on back then, but they stayed together. But from them staying together, they got, let's say 13 more grandkids out of the mix, not as a whole legacy and a whole room full of people at a family reunion, all because grandma didn't give up on grandpa. And now it's a strong knit situation, it's a family. And when people are just quitting, first quarter like this, and that was my point earlier, is when you quit first quarter like that, you're probably abandoning, 13 grandkids down the line, solid situation down the line, and some people, you don't want to call cheating a mistake because people know what the hell they're doing, even if there's alcohol involved or perk 30s, whatever your vice is, you know what the hell you're doing. So, for situations like that, so I don't want to say that it's an accident, but it may have been an accident in the sense of hey man, I was gambling with the wrong person. I actually care about this person. This isn't a regular situationship thing. I actually like this person. And I was doing my regular knee-jerk mechanical actions as a person. But now that I see that I actually care about this person, I'm not going to live like that no more. But that may have to come through a revelation of somebody, cheating and get caught. So yeah, you never know who you're dealing with in these situations. You might be throwing away the right person. And today's day and age, when everybody is operating on defense mechanisms, oh, you got me messed up. You got me messed up. Oh yeah, you playing like that. I'm gonna play it like this. And everybody is out here puffer fishing it out, porcupining it out and sticking the next person before they get stick. And so when you live in this tit for tat lifestyle and this treacherous waters of the current dating market, of course, people out here are getting hurt and then jumping ship prematurely, I would say. So, everybody got their own situation. There's no one size fits all. All right. Evaluate your situation as it comes. It's a case by case basis. I'm not sitting here agreeing with Young Miami, but at the same time, I understand where she's coming from.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's conversations like this that further reinforce my belief that the only reason why things like polyamorous relationships are on the rise is because I've said this before, things like polyamory, it gives people an official designation to do what they've already been doing. As you said, bro, like people have been doing this, but now in order to morally recuse yourself from the guilt associated with labeling things such as cheating, we can now just say we're polyamorous. Therefore, we're maintaining options, and no one has to have their feelings hurt because I chose to exercise my options in this respect. I think the conversation, like polyamory, people who legitimately live polyamorous, respect and kudos to those people who are doing it by the book. This isn't a shot at those people, but I think polyamorous relationships and the like have been hijacked by the masses who just want to have as much sexual freedom as they want. You know what I'm saying? It's not about building nations or building communities or making sure families stay together. It's just about people being able to indulge in their carnal instincts as much as possible without feeling guilty for doing so. Because no one wants to be called a liar or a cheater or a betrayer. No one likes that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one wants to be held to a moral standard like that where they indulge in a little sexual proclivities and now they have to deal with being called all sorts of things out of their name because they let somebody down. So how can I sort of rise up? How can I sort of sidestep that? Well, let me just designate myself as polyamorous. Let whoever I'm dealing with know I'm polyamorous. Therefore, can they morally get upset with me because I really just want to get my rocks off with other people? No, because they knew I was polyamorous. And if they're being polyamorous, I can then at that point not set myself up for failure by maintaining an expectation that they don't have other options because they probably do, because that's what everyone's doing. So, that's the only reason why this stuff is on the rise now and it's becoming popularized. It's becoming a mainstream, I believe, because what people want more than anything else is to just have the moral leeway to indulge in as much sexual freedom as possible. And all of that other stuff can fall by the wayside. And so they incorporate things like polyamory because it gives them the opportunity to do it, even though really what they're doing is they are co-opting what it is that they want to get out of life with the true essence of what something like polyamorous actually means. So for the folks out there who are really living poly, salute to y'all. It isn't necessarily for me, but I appreciate it if you're doing it in accordance with the correct way that it's supposed to be executed. But you got a lot of people out here who just want to be out here letting it fly, can't keep it in the pants, as you say. And in order to be able to be morally recused from any sort of guilt associated with that, not be called a cheater, and not have to deal with getting 2 or 3 or 4 chances to cheat on somebody, we can just maintain all of our options because we can label ourselves, designate ourselves some of these various relationship, you know, qualifiers and definitions. That's
Mhm.
my belief on why this stuff is even a thing nowadays. Other than that, yeah, bro, I just think approaching this stuff with a little bit of realism is what people are supposed to be doing. We talk about honesty all the time. And you know, if you are more of the traditional type and you make it known and you try to date other people who are on that same traditional timeline and stuff goes left and you maintain certain standards when it comes to tolerating that and you want to, you know, uphold those and say I have a zero tolerance policy on that, I'm with that too. But what I'm not here for is people who want to do that, but you're out here in this crazy world doing things very untraditionally. That to me does not align and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say is, man, uh, I'm just tired of the capery. I'm over it. All these people hollering that they want monogamy, and they're not living in accordance to that, and they got every excuse in the book of why they stepped out, and I don't want to hear it. The truth of the matter is, you really don't believe in monogamy, and especially if these people out here talking about getting married and they want to do things under the under the Lord, have a covenant with somebody and get married, and still holler that they want a divorce later because this person's not giving me enough attention, or they don't do rose petals and candlelight dinners no more. It's bogus. So yeah, man, just be honest, man. I'm just over the capery, man. So me personally, I'll look on from the rafters, man, and just watch these people out here lie, and say that they want to keep living a particular way, a monogamous way, and just continue to watch their relationships break up because they're liars. So I think there needs to be an honest conversation, and it may not come from our generation, that's for damn sure. But maybe these youngins, man, that are watching all this stuff from afar, maybe they'll have a cleaner way of looking at these relationships. Because I'm telling you right now, everybody that's in the dating pool, as of now, they're all playing the same game and they're all lying to each other and lying to themselves. So, but yeah, man. Hey, I'll say this though. What do y'all think down in the comments section? You guys agree with Young Miami? You agree with her stance? You know, what's your magic number? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 17? Let me know, man. Let me know down in the comment section. I'd be very intrigued to hear you guys' responses.
Yeah, that's the question to ask is what is your magic number for when it's too many for when it's too many times, right? Yeah. Shots more to come on Young Miami somewhat later on in the stream,
Right,
bro.
that's right.
But yeah, what is everybody's number when it comes to this cheating stuff? This stuff is so all over the map these days, man. Who knows? But a lot of people are out here in these streets. So
Yeah.
I don't think that you can maintain not in the streets rules when you date in an in the streets fashion. So
Thank you.
uh,
100. Said that better myself.
all right, and now we got some words from Timberland. Is it safe to call him a legend? Is that a safe way
Absolutely,
to?
absolutely.
So Timberland, a legend in the game as a producer, beat maker, extraordinaire in hip hop, has some interesting words about current music sounding boring and bland. Now he attributed this to divisiveness. He brought up the election. He said that divisiveness has made the music boring and bland, and everybody trying to do the same thing, and it's not very noteworthy and memorable. And then he, oddly enough, said that the only thing with a soul nowadays is AI. Which I,
What?
I, I thought that was very interesting.
I might
That
have to revoke his legend status.
I know, right? Yeah, yeah. I'm not getting that particular part of his comments, but we'll get into it here. So
Mhm.
this says Timberland calls today's music bland and boring due to no well-known artists, but AI is beautiful. Timberland isn't feeling today's music. In a new interview, the super producer expressed his thought on the current landscape and shares that the music is bland and boring. He believes the reason for it is the recent election dividing the musicians. The statement led to him praising AI. The election divided us. What I mean by that is it divided the music. The music sound bland, it sound boring. We talk about AI, and that is the only thing that has a pure soul right now. That you can create something and express your true feelings, and it comes out beautiful. Timbaland's comments follow the super producer admitting to making several hit records while on drugs. In an interview with Ryan Clark's The Pivot, Timbo shared that he made Justin Timberlake's 2020 experience on drugs. Hits produced by Timbaland while intoxicated also include Beyonce and Jay-Z. None of Timbo's early hits were made while under the influence, the producer admits. Timbo has often encouraged the support of AI in today's music, recognizing the benefits if used in the proper manner. So we'll go ahead and play some sound of Timbaland, giving light to how he feels about this. So let me try and cue this up. All right, so here's Timbo talking about the music sounding boring and bland because of divisiveness, and how AI is the only beautiful thing because it has a soul or something like that.
Interesting.
See, my thing is I tap into people that
that you ain't seen.
I don't go off with the hype, but I go off with the feeling.
Yeah.
So would I do an album showing you? Yeah, first I'm doing a playlist. I'm trying to get all the artists to understand, I'm gonna put you on my playlist. I get 21 million monthly listeners. So it's and it's up and growing. So my thing is I want to make my own Timbaland Now Volume 1. Now Volume 2. Remember them old albums?
Yeah.
But it's all about But it's all about new talent.
Right.
It ain't about and if I did have, I would do maybe 2 artists that I already have. And the rest would be all new.
What makes you want to do it that way?
For one, man, just feel fresher.
Yeah.
It feels new.
So funny you say that.
I don't want to hit I don't feel like man, we editing all this, right?
Yeah, we are. On God.
I just don't feel like ain't nobody moving me that's already that we know. And I think y'all feel the same way.
No, 1,000%.
Because I feel like everybody goes through it. I feel like it ain't nobody's fault, but just the world of what's going on.
Yeah,
I just feel like you can feel the pressure of the dividedness.
Yeah.
And I hate that. And you can feel it.
You can feel it.
You don't see no reconcile. After this whole election is divided us.
Yep. 1,000%.
And when I mean by that, it divided the music. The music sound bland. It sounds boring. And which is, we talk about AI and artificial intelligence, but shuck, that's the only thing that has a pure soul right now.
Yeah.
That you can create something and just express your true feelings, and it comes out beautiful. But I just feel like right now everything just discombobulated, which aligns with everything in the world. Ain't no song right now, and y'all gotta admit, it's grabbing you.
Nah.
Ain't no theme song. I can't name one right now.
Interesting.
All right, so so this thing goes on to say, let's see, Timbaland has redefined modern music with his futuristic production and genre blurring sound. His intricate drum patterns, unconventional samples, and forward-thinking beats have shaped hip-hop, R&B, and pop for decades. By the early 2000s, Timbaland was a dominant force, crafting hits for Justin Timberlake, Jay-Z, and Beyonce. His work on Timberlake's Future Sex Love Sounds redefined pop with chart-topping singles like Sexy Back and My Love. He later produced the 2020 Experience, further solidifying Timberlake's solo stardom. At the same time, he helped shape Nelly Furtado's Loose, which delivered global hits like Promiscuous and Say It Right, so on and so forth. So I don't know if you were able to, I'm still trying to figure out what it is he was trying to say, kind of. But what is your take on this whole, because I have my own thoughts and opinions about music sounding bland and boring, but I don't know that it's due to divisiveness. That's my first time hearing that. But do you think that there's any credence to any of that?
You know, we're dealing with Timberland. And by the way, let me go ahead and preface this, with my best Stephen A. Smith impression. First of all, this is one of the best producers ever. He's one of the best producers to ever do it. Back in the '90s, man, early 2000s, if Timberland produced it, it was a smash to me. So it didn't have, I don't care what nobody else said. Those were the best beats that I've ever heard. Each time I heard a new Timberland beat. So he's quite honestly one of my favorite, if not my favorite producers ever. So I'll go ahead and say that. Okay. Now, with that being said, bro, I don't know if he was under the influence when he was doing this interview or what he had going on. But Timberland, he thinks a little bit different. Clearly, you don't make those songs that he made and produce those songs if you don't think off the beaten path a little bit. So now, when his stance when it comes to the divisiveness, it was a bit of a reach, but at least as far as what I can understand, what he's getting at with this situation is that everybody is thinking in a uniform way, one way or another. And if people, the divisiveness that's going on right now in the world is symbolic of people's uniform way of thinking. And so you're either on one side of the spectrum or the other. There's no nuance. There's no gray area. Everybody is just living in the black or the white. And so this past election proves that. And then when they get on the track, so's the same thing. And so people nowadays, all music, it sounds repetitive. And whether it's R&B, whatever people are calling R&B nowadays, to today's modern rap, it's the same type of cadence, the same type of delivery, the same type of topics. Nobody is venturing off. Nobody's going off the beaten path. Everybody's following the same cookie cutter thing because everybody's trying to follow this algorithmic formula that was constructed by these music industries. So if it's not being pushed by the music industry, the people that are just doing their own independent thing are still following that same formula because that's been beating their head over the past few decades. So what has happened now is we've got this cookie cutter amalgamated way that music is coming out right now. And I got to attest to it too. It all sucks to me. So him saying it's a bit of a hot take. Him saying that AI is the most thing with soul right now. It's because that if you feed it an idea, it's going to come up with something that's probably different than what everything else is coming out. Even though it might still fit some of the same formulas, you can instruct it to do something different. So from there, it would have technically more soul in it than what this Ice Spice will come out with. Or Erica Banks, you name them, okay? Glorilla, okay? So there's no more creativity in the game. What I was going to say, and this is the last thing I'll say before I let you go. So, and here's why somebody like Timberland, and honestly, even as crazy as Kanye is, why these guys are embracing AI outside of any type of weird agenda. I would say that what we've come to love as hip hop, or even what it turned into rap beats, but hip hop beats, rap beats, just the whole premise behind a hip hop beat is something that was a synthesized loop repetitive sample from something else. Every hip hop beat, as classic as you want to get, it came from something else. There's nothing really original when it comes to sound, when it comes to hip hop stuff. Even if there's somebody that's, one of my, more contemporary, like 808 Mafia or somebody like that, and they're coming out with beats or whatever, and no, they're not sampling old stuff. But yeah, but it's computerized, synthesized noises. There's no music in any of it. So the person that will really do a 180 on the industry, the thing that will really upset the apple cart, if there was somebody that was rapping and stuff, then they were actually rapping to live instruments, like all the time, their own original sounds, not these synthesized synthetic things that are in these beat programs that you can buy a packet and you just hit a drum there. Doom, that same drum that's been playing for the last 4 decades. Doom. But this different drum that got hit by a guy who actually plays a drum, even though it's supposed to hit the same thing, the rhythm is different. So hip hop in and of itself, you know, yeah, it's cool and all, but it lacks originality from the inception. So of course, the product that has become over the years has become even more synthetic, even more synthesized, and even more less original. So I agree with what Timberland's saying from most of this stuff here. So I think he was just coming at it from his galaxy brain that he uses to make his own beats. But I think I was somewhat picking up what he was putting down. But what are your thoughts, man, on what Sir Timberland had to say? You know, saying that, you know, today's music is all the same and it's divisive and all of this stuff. What are your thoughts, bro?
So yeah, based on that explanation, I can understand that. He's, you know, essentially equating the way people approach making music to the general idea of people thinking in a siloed fashion,
Yeah.
in a very either or fashion. It either is this or is that. And so I guess, you know, theoretically, if one approaches making music in the same way, it either this is this or it either is that, then things are going to sound bland and boring, because whether it's the either or, it's going to come out sounding all like the same thing.
Correct.
That all of the either's sound the same and all of the ors sound the same.
Yeah.
So that's actually a good point that you brought up. Provided that is what he's thinking, that definitely does make sense. That's a pretty good way to rationalize that one. You know, the only reason why AI would have a soul to a person such as Timbaland is because Timbaland has the creativity gene to be able to leverage AI for something that is truly unique.
Right.
That rule of thumb doesn't apply to the vast majority of the people making music in this genre.
I agree.
Especially the artists themselves, because they lack said creativity. The creativity is the soul part, not the AI. The AI is just the tool that allows you to leverage that innate ability. But in order for that tool to leverage that innate ability into something meaningful and creative, you've got to approach using that tool with that soul of creativity in the first place.
Agreed.
And that's the element that's missing. He can talk like that because he has that in his soul.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of this stuff, the reason why it's formulaic is because you have formulaic people lacking in creativity and a soul making the same stuff. Yep. So it doesn't matter whether you're using AI to do anything different or not. It's still going to come out on the back end sounding formulaic because you went into it with a formulaic formula, not to sound redundant.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and even like you said, people like Kanye and, you know, people with that creativity, because Kanye is another person who is wholly embracing AI.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes as no surprise because he does have that sort of intrinsic creativity gene that I would say most of these people lack. So it doesn't matter whether you're a producer trying to make songs for Ice Spice, she's a bot.
Right.
So whether you're using, you know, synthesizers, beats, Pro Tools, AI, I don't care what you're using, because you're making songs for a bot, the song is gonna be a bot. It's gonna be a bot of a song. It doesn't matter. She's a bot. So the core essence of this genre being bland and boring is because the artistry is bland and boring.
Correct.
This stuff is very simple. The music industry is prioritizing specific sounds when it comes to this genre. We talk about ignorant rap all the time. Formulaic, ignorant, mundane, surface level stuff. That's what's being aggressively mainstream. It doesn't comprise all of the music, but it does comprise the stuff that's being popularized. It does comprise the stuff that has the most money being put behind it. Are there other artists doing stuff with a soul and it comes out sounding good and creative and not bland and not boring? Yes. But the music industry and the algorithm of these streaming services don't prioritize that music. So you'll never hear it unless you're a hardcore fan. And it's going to lead you to believe that everything is boring and bland because that's what's being fed to you. But at its true core, this conversation is around a dearth of creativity, plain and simple. And whenever I think about this stuff, I try to remove my age and my sensibilities from the conversation, and I try to approach it objectively because, you know, the first thing people will say to you is, oh, you just stuck in an era, or you stuck in the past, or you know what I'm saying? They'll engage in these histrionics, essentially trying to suggest that the reason why you think this way is because you come from a different generation or a different time. So what I try to do is I try to remove my age and my generational sensibilities from the conversation, and I try to look at it objectively. And even with me doing that, I still find myself objectively believing that the music is objectively lacking in creativity.
Agreed.
I don't think that's my generation or my age. Like I've been alive. I don't want to dislike this stuff. Like I don't wake up every day saying I want to dislike this music. It's actually the opposite. I wake up every day and I'm like, I want to like this stuff. I want to like these newer artists. I want to like the newer sounds. I truly do. But every day when I go into the gym or I get into my car and I turn onto the radio or I get on my Spotify and I see what my algorithm is giving me based upon my listening history, and I give stuff that I'm not too familiar with a try, I'm left feeling the same way every time. This is trash. And I'm looking at this stuff objectively. The creativity, the soul behind it is gone. It's gone. You can take a person like Timbaland or Kanye or anybody who I would say approaches making music from a creative standpoint, and you put them in a studio with one of these bots, and it's going to come out on the back end sounding like bot music all the same. It's not going to matter. So as far as I can tell, the music industry is neutered and watered down and bastardized in large part by a lack of creativity on the artist front, because I think the majority of the talent is with the engineers and the producers at this point. And I think it's been that way for at least 10 years.
Yeah, at least.
In my opinion. In my opinion, the talent is with the producers, the engineers, the beat makers. They make some of these artists sound way better than they actually are.
I agree.
Way better. You take these producers away from some of these artists and it's garbage. Pure garbage. And it's because before you had artists who actually thought about making music from a creativity musicianship standpoint. So when you combine that with a talented person behind the beats, you end up creating art and magic. Now we only get one side of that equation. Don't sell me on none of these new people. They're all making the same. You want to know why a lot of this stuff sounds the same? Because they lack in the creativity. Therefore, it doesn't matter what producer or engineer they work with. It's going to come out sounding the same because their contribution to this overall equation is the same. Bland, formulaic, boring. So we can make this stuff complicated all we want, talking about divisiveness and, you know, I'm not saying you're doing that.
No, I got you.
But yeah, people like Timbaland talking about See, what he's trying to do is not alienate people. Timbaland is doing a Stephen A. Smith thing, where he's not going to give an honest opinion because he doesn't want to have key people in the music industry against him for saying something controversial. So he'll coax it by saying it's about divisiveness. It ain't about divisiveness, and you know it. It's about the fact that a lot of these artists that you're throwing in people's faces don't have any talent and don't have any creativity, plain and simple. And I don't think that's me being an old person looking at it. I think that's me being an objective listener who wants to like it. And I'm just not seeing it. So as far as I'm concerned, it comes down to the core issue of creativity. AI does not solve that, because all AI is going to do is enhance a lack of creativity. That's all it's going to do.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I think that I think this also has to deal with a lack of, standards in the game, standards from the fans, which also allowed this and enabled all of this, copycat music. I remember, bro, it was probably like 2007, 8-ish. There was still a standard of hey, that's that guy's flow. Yeah, you're gonna have to have a different flow than that. Or hey man, I heard somebody else say that in a song. You can't say that. You have to find a more creative way to say that you sold those drugs. Because I heard this guy say that, his Escalade's like a Brinks truck. So I don't want to hear that come from you. Or your Tahoe's like a Brinks truck. Well, I heard that already, or the same type of rhythmic flow like that this guy had on this song or whatever, then or just as their signature, somebody else wasn't allowed to have that. But then somewhere around 2009, 10, 11ish, they use these artists coming out and they were just sounding like the next person, and then people were accepting it. I wasn't. I was like, hey, you sound like the other guy. If I want to hear this flow, I'll just listen to that guy. But then it got to this point where, people just stopped caring. And then so there it was whoever was popping, there'd be another artist that can mimic that flow really well, and then now that guy's on. Then somebody else will come out with a unique flow, and then somebody that can really mimic that, or a few people that can really mimic that, they'll come out with stuff, and now they're on. And it just became this pattern of flow biting. Lyrics went out the window a long time ago, so people could just say the same thing all over. They just recycle bars. Hey, I'm coming down and I'm swinging. Hey, somebody already said it was coming down and they're swinging.
Bro, remember the super duper flow? It was that flow where you would say something and then you rhyme it with a related concept to the line. Like remember Ludacris in that song with I think it was Nicki Minaj, or my chick bad, where Ludacris is like coming down the street like a parade, Macy's.
Yeah,
so
man.
So that was called the super duper flow. But every rapper for that period of time was copying that,
and it was disgusting. When I first heard it, I was like, okay, all right. But then when everybody started doing it and it was using it like a legitimate punchline, I'm like, stop, please, bro. They're just stringing them back together like I want to hear that crap. I don't want to hear that garbage. But yeah, man, I hated that. So so it just became a point where, mimicking sounds just became acceptable. Mimicking this producer, mimicking this flow, just being the same thing, just repackaged. There'll be rappers that you would find, that they're on now, but then you go back in their older work and they rap completely different. But then there was a flow that just came out like a year or two ago. They started biting that flow. Now they're on. There's a whole bunch of that. So there's just a lack of standard from consumers too. But they've been programmed to like certain things. And so there's a lack of standards that comes from the consumer, lack of standards that come from the artist. And due to all of these lack of standards, there's just no need to be creative. So yeah, man, it's just a whole bunch of because back then you had to have your own thing because it was required of you. Nowadays it's not even required. So if you come out with a Migos flow, you look like Gucci, your videos look like Kendrick Lamar's. Your media program, your media team moves like Drake. And then you're on now. You're your own amalgamated weird little artist. So that it's a lot of that going on right now. And that's why it's just distasteful to me. There's nobody that's being creative in a game and switching things up. Last thing I'll say is that, this whole fiasco that's going on with Yellow Beezy and Mo3. Now I heard of Mo3. I mean, I'm out here in Texas. So when he passed away, it was a thing. But back when he passed away, I listened to his songs and I didn't care for his topics. But I was like, okay, I can see why people like him. And then, since all this stuff popped up again, I started, listening to more of his stuff. And again, I was like, man, bro, these are bad topics. But you can see why everybody liked him from his talent. And he had flows that were different. And he handled things differently. Some stuff sounded like others, but other things was like, nah, this guy be snapping because that's how he's a unique type of person in that kind of way. And so there's not so much of that anymore, where somebody comes out with a unique kind of way of doing things. So if somebody is, though, they would, take the game by storm, come out with a different flow. There's so many ways to do it. So, but yeah, man, I think all in all, it is, music isn't creative anymore from any genre, if you ask me. Pop songs aren't pop songs anymore. Because every once in a while you hear a pop song that's different than the others, but you can clearly tell it's pop. But hey, I can see why they snap. But everything just sounds like the same background music. So every genre is suffering right now, and so I don't know what else to make of it. So hopefully somebody else will come out and change the game up. Somebody's got live instruments or something like that, a different type of flow. I'm ready for it. I think the world is too.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I hope you're right, because these days I'm not so sure what the world is ready for anymore. I feel like we're all just these robotic zombies being fed whatever the corporations want to give us. I try to remain optimistic, but I don't know, man. I just get Brave New World of 1984 stuck in my head. There's that image of all of the humans just in a single file line, just walking. Yeah. Yeah. Wearing the same color, walking at the same pace, and everyone's consuming, listening to, craving the same stuff. Everything that you said is correct. And I would also add one additional thing to it. It isn't helped by the journalistic aspect of the hip hop industry that doesn't criticize. It refuses to critique anything. Agreed. Like I can't find a single hip hop website, magazine, journalist, talking head, media personality, podcaster who will actually legitimately sit down and say, I think this album sucks.
Right.
I think this artist needs work. Everything is good and great and wonderful and good and classic.
And dope.
Yeah. Like everything can't be good. If everything is good, it is an indication to me that you're not operating at an optimal level when it comes to standards. If you're going to sit there and just say everything is great, everything can't be great, bro. Like, I'm a sports guy. A quarterback can't throw 3 picks in a game and only complete 50% of his passes, and I'll come out and say he still had a good game. No, he played bad.
Right.
He played bad. But what we got going on with this music is, I guess because it's not as metric as sports and stats and numbers, and it's more artistically oriented, you can sort of just say it's up to interpretation, therefore everything can be good. But I don't buy that. Like, I don't buy that. Before, there was a standard, as you said. There's some standard for skill. There's some standard for creativity. There's some standard for music, song concepts, album concepts. You know what I'm saying? Cadence, rhythm, flow. There were always standards for some of these various technical observations, and I think we've allowed it to just completely go by the wayside.
Yep.
And now you have a lot of these people who are in positions of influence who could help with some of this stuff, who refuse to do so because you don't want to alienate people. You don't want to piss people off. You want to make sure that you can always get this rapper to come on your show. You don't want to make nobody mad or upset or offended by your opinion. So it's just a whole lot of chicken shitness going on, and it's further contributing to how bad this stuff is.
Yep.
So I don't know what'll fix it, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, and just like Victor Oladipo and his homeboy there, just yes man and everything Timbaland had to say. Oh yeah, that's dope, that's fire. Just yes man it up. And whenever that guy was in school, nobody liked that guy. Nobody liked that guy. But that's what all of these guys are. All of these journalists, as you mentioned, the Elliot Wilsons of the world. I gotta throw that boy under the bus. Yeah, man, everything's dope. Everything. No, it's not dope, bro. That's trash. You know what I'm saying? Or hey, man, this album sounds like the last. And yeah, you're right, man. There's no more concepts for albums anymore. And I guess people could say that got thrown away, even though certain mixtapes would have a theme to it. More or less, mixtape music was just, I'm putting out music. So there's no theme behind it. There's no feel behind it. There's no energy behind it. It's just music.
Yeah.
And people just release music.
Yeah. It's just 3 songs, and each song is like 2 minutes long. Like, but by the time you even get into the song, it's already over.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, well, you know, and that's the influence of streaming.
Yeah.
So this goes on and on, man, of why we've gotten this watered down product. You know, it's a concert of reasons why things have gotten this bad. So, but I still think that there's people out there that study the game the right way. It's putting pen to pad. You just haven't heard of them, and that's fine by me. But if you guys know them, please let me know down in the comment section. I would love to know who's out there that's actually making quality music nowadays.
Yeah. Shouts out to Timbaland, man. Yeah, I feel you on what you said about that. When he was at his peak, bro.
No stop.
Yeah, like he would make some of the best beats I've ever heard. It was crazy,
bro.
Yeah,
and still to this day, bro, there's certain beats, bro. If you just play them by themselves, bro, and you just listen to it, like this is insane.
Yeah,
it's insane, bro. Golly,
yeah,
man.
he must have been on something to make some of those beats.
Yeah, man. Hindsight, yeah, bro. You on some LSD or something.
Yeah, I remember. Well, it was Jeezy. It was Jeezy's second album, The Inspiration. Timbo had that beat on there, 3 a.m. I still listen to that song to this day. Like that was the best beat of that entire year to me. Like it was crazy. Anybody who's unaware of this, it's Jeezy, The Inspiration. There's a song on there called 3 a.m. That's produced by Timbaland. Go listen to that. Shouts out to Timbaland, man.
Bro, Cry Me a River, bro. I don't like that song. But that beat is ridiculous, especially the last little leg of that thing. Yeah. It is outrageous. I listened to the song just for that. I ain't trying to listen to Justin Timberlake, but Timbaland made me, damn it. Yeah, man. Shout out to Timbaland, man. It's unbelievable guy.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Now we're on to something a little more somber. So there's a Reddit thread that went viral in which millennials discuss their financial future, and a lot of them are expressing very bleak sentiments about what their financial future looks like. A lot of millennials, man, are worried. They're concerned. They feel like their future doesn't have abundance in it. They feel like they're going to be working essentially until they die. They're not going to have any discretionary income to save up for retirement or anything like that. There's just a lot of doom and gloom when it comes to financial futures from the perspective of millennials. Full disclosure, both Dogon and I are a part of said millennial generation.
Hey, sorry,
so this hits somewhat close to home for us. But this says millennials on Reddit share their bleak plans for retirement. Work till noon the day of my funeral. Millennials are using dark humor to cope with their bleak prospects for retirement. A viral Reddit thread by user Alpha Dasani titled Millennials, What Y'all Plan for Retirement, has millennials and some Gen Zers reflecting on the mostly grim but occasionally optimistic outlooks their respective age groups have on retirement. The post, which has garnered over 16,000 responses, is filled with folks sharing their take on retiring in the face of economic uncertainty, rising inflation, and the increasing difficulty of homeownership. Other financial burdens such as wage inequality, rising living costs, student loans, medical debt, and unexpected emergencies were also reflected in the comments. Work till noon the day of my funeral, wrote one user. Save a lot, die before retirement. Will my retirement savings to my kids so they have a chance, wrote another. Flip a coin. Either I'm not living to see retirement age or I'll be working till I'm 90, shared another. And just to be clear, I have a well-paying job. And just to be clear, I have a well-paying and secure job, no loans and savings. I'm just confident that shit's going to get so bad that I'll be working until I drop dead. A forward-thinking commenter wrote, live longer than everyone else in the family, inherit their stuff, retire 5 minutes before I die. One of the more grim responses included, "Die at my job. I'm neurodivergent and have never worked anything other than minimum wage jobs. I have no savings and no pension. I'll keel over mopping one day, and that will be that. My job will be filled by that afternoon. Literally, my retirement age will probably be 10 years after I die. My body, my body will be used to prop open a door by the government," said another millennial. In a February 2024 poll, 30% of millennials told YouGov they expect to retire between the ages of 51 to 60. That is laughable. Per USA Today, data from other surveys show that a smaller percentage of millennials plan to work into their 60s. However, the financial reality suggests an early retirement may be unrealistic. A 2024 report from Northwestern Mutual showed millennials can anticipate needing at least $1.65 million for a comfortable retirement. But on average, millennials have only $62,600 in retirement savings.
Hysterical.
While the age group tends to start saving earlier than past generations, economic setbacks, including 9/11, the late 2000s Great Recession, and the COVID-19 pandemic, have hindered their financial progress. Though some financial experts believe disciplined savings could still enable younger people to retire comfortably, older millennials who haven't built substantial savings but may find an early retirement out of reach. On the other hand, a study from the TIAA Institute found that 35% of Gen Z ages 18 to 24 do not save for retirement because they don't know where to begin, with only 20% actively saving. So there you go with that. Financial literacy, general ideas behind how to effectively approach new and emerging markets, rapidly shifting economic climates. We talk about that on this channel pretty often, I would say at this point. But so what do you make of this, man? A lot of people in our cohort expressing some very bleak outlooks when it comes to just being able to retire comfortably, let alone having money to do what you want.
I mean, I don't mean to sound cold or callous, but get over it. I like the ones that were more of the joking fashion of, they're just going to use me to hold open. They're going to use my corpse to hold open a door, and they're still going to tax that corpse too. So if there's a way for you to look at this on the lighter side of things, because you better, I think that's what's recommended. But just being on the somber side of the scale, I'm not wishing this on people, but you're pretty much cashing in your ticket to be one of those people that get caught up, swept up in the fodder, and just be one of the disposables when it comes to whatever inevitable hammer is going to come retirement time. So I think the best course of action of handling this for millennials or Gen Zers or anybody that comes after us, where there won't be any Social Security, because by the way, our generation has been slowly told this over time. I've been hearing this type of rhetoric since late elementary school, early middle school, that there may not be any Social Security for my generation. So this has been something that's been floating around in our back of our heads for quite a while. Take heed to that and invest in yourself. Now, so I would say that you hit the nail on the head when it comes to financial literacies and staying ahead of whatever new and emerging markets or whatever that's coming along. But that pretty much is the way that you would have to handle any of these types of situations. If you try to handle it the status quo way, the way of, just work hard, pay your taxes and, go home and then, do all of this stuff, just depending on a wage, bro, or just one at that, you're not going to make it. You're just not going to make it. Those numbers aren't lying. When they say you need at least 1.6, bro, and nobody's even close to that. 1.6. So how you gonna get there? So now it's a new game, y'all. I think everybody right now, if you're not already moving up, You know, everybody's at ground zero right now. I don't think anybody, if you're working a job, I don't care pretty much what your salary is. Everybody's on ground zero right now. And you'd better start moving. There's new things that are relevant now that weren't relevant 5 years ago. And if you're not learning those things that just came about, you're going to get left behind.
Yes.
And I don't care what your old credentials used to be or whatever, you're going to be the ones that get left behind. So everybody is more or less at ground zero, no matter what your degree level, whatever your current job status is. You know, oh, I'm the lead at blah 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 blah. I'm the manager at blah 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 blah. And it's like, hey, well, will that still be around 5 years from now? Probably not. So how are you going to make sure that you're on the winning side of this equation? Because there's going to be a lot of losers. So one thing that you need to do is get out of the corner and stop crying, for one. And that's all that post was. Everybody sitting down in the corner crying, hey, man. I don't want to hang around with those people, because if the Titanic is sinking, I'm not hanging out with the crowd that's woe is me in the corner, you know. So I'm going to try to find a way to try to get off this mug alive. Yeah, I'm in the middle of the Arctic. I ain't going out like no yacht. You know what I'm saying? So my first response to these people, millennials and everybody below, hell, there's some Gen X's in that category too. You know what I'm saying? I would just tell all of those people, man, suck it up and do your best to try to find yourself in an industry that you probably care about or may not, but just find a new way. But the thing that can give you solace is everybody is on ground zero right now.
Yeah.
So you're not behind. So start now.
Yeah, everything that you said, bro, factual. I don't even have much to add to that part, so I'll attack it from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I want to reiterate for anyone who is unfamiliar with this channel, whenever we talk about this, the middle class has been effectively eradicated. I want to say that again because I think it's important for everyone to understand that. The goalpost is moved and the middle class has been eradicated. So what used to constitute the middle class, whatever that number was, whatever your annual income is, if you fell into that middle class area, you now are on the same side as people who would be classified as lower income.
Yeah.
Everybody is either lower income or rich, wealthy, financially free, whatever word or term you want to use to describe the opposite of the lack of a middle class. You're either on one side or the other. You're either financially free, you are either self-actualized, financially free, rich, wealthy, stable, comfortable, whatever word you want to use. You're either that or you're with everybody else who's broke. There is no middle class. There is no more, I can comfortably do these things, but I can't do it to the levels that the rich and the wealthy can. No, there's no middle ground. You're either there with everybody else or you're on the other side living abundantly. There is an aspect of this conversation in which we are contributing to our own demise.
Yes.
Now, people really need to understand this. There are concessions and contingencies that you can make to better position yourself to not have a bleak retirement, to not have to work until you're 90, to not have your rotting corpse being used as a prop to hold open a door. Okay? Like those, and I put listen, full disclosure, I put myself in this category. So, whenever, I just want to also repeat whenever we talk about this stuff, I'm not trying to separate myself from any of this. I'm actually the opposite. I'm speaking from a place of experience. I put myself in these categories as well. Whenever I talk about we needing to do this and do that to improve and get better, I'm putting myself in the mix there. Yeah, I'm including myself as well. So I contribute to this same thing as well. But, in addition to the grind, the working, the 9 to 5, the earning the paychecks, the paying the bills, all things that are essential, of course, it's important that you take inventory on how important it is to you that you have a brighter, comfortable future. Maybe you should get rid of all those streaming services that you're paying for. Learn to grow your own food. My brother, little simple things, bro. My brother, no kidding you. I love my brother to death. My brother is a DIYer. If you have ever met a DIYer, right? My brother has a chicken coop in his backyard. I'm not gonna say his name because it's illegal to do this. But my brother, bro, he's growing his own eggs. They don't pay for eggs. They don't pay for a lot of poultry and produce. Cancel all of those streaming services. Why do you need Hulu bundle, HBO Max, Paramount Plus? All of these things that when you're paying for all of them amount essentially to the same amount that you're paying for cable, which you got rid of because you thought streaming was the more financially appetizing option.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting out the same amount of money or close to it because you're paying for all of these dumbass streaming services. Go outside and touch some grass. Get rid of all the streaming services. Maybe, relegate it to one or two that you believe are essential based on your viewing habits and get rid of the rest of them. Curb the fluff that way. As I said before, grow your own food. You'll save a ton of money on produce, fruits, and vegetables if you grew your own food. These are measures that can be easily implemented by a lot of people, but they refuse to do it because we're slaves to these conglomeracies and these corporations. We're slaves to the grocery store industry. We're slaves to the streaming industry. We're slaves to Amazon Prime. Get rid of your Amazon Prime account.
I don't know about that.
I'm just saying, you're paying a monthly bill for Prime.
Nah, it's facts though, bro.
I'm just saying, how seriously do you want to take your retirement? You're paying every month for a Prime account. Now, 4 months of Prime is $60, and they go up on it every other quarter or whatever. Right now, 4 months of Prime is $60. You can realistically go 4 months without using that, but you're paying the bill on it. If you actually need something, you can get in the car, go to Best Buy and get what you need. But people like the convenience of that Prime. You need the convenience of that Prime. And I'm a Prime account holder.
Hey, that's going to be the ones that I keep that I think's essential.
Hey, yeah. So I'm a Prime account holder. The point is taking inventory of the essentials.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah, that's the greater point. These are all contingencies that most people can put into place. Oh, I rent an apartment. I don't have my own house or my own land. I can't grow my own food. There's land rentals for growing your own food. There's that stuff that's out there. My point is these things are possible if you're willing to put in the time to research it and then put in the time to actually go through with doing it. In the long run, it will save you a lot of that money that you spend at the grocery store every week, where you're being overcharged for fruits and vegetables and real foods and produce and meats. A lot of that can be saved and put away towards retirement or money for a rainy day. You can pay for a financial planner to plan your things out in advance, to give you good tips and advice on stock market investments and, annuities and bonds. Open a CD. Get yourself an account in a credit union where somebody can give you an advice on the right way to put your money into a CD account and have it grow vested over time. 6 months after you don't touch it, it's made 30% on what you initially put in there. But you don't have the discretionary income to allocate towards that because of the waste that you're contributing your money towards on a monthly, annual basis. Is everything waste? No. But there are certain essentials that you can pinpoint, and then you can get rid of the fluff, things that you deem to not be essentials. But we're all living above our means in certain respects when it comes to some of these services that we pay for. I personally would consider 5, 6, 7 streaming services to be living in excess.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like, do you need all of those? No, you don't. You really don't. You know what I'm saying? Even if you wanted to do certain creative things, like I've heard of some people, I actually know a lot of people who do this. They'll get a streaming service and they'll pay for it just to watch the one show that they want to watch. And then once they've watched all the episodes, they cancel.
Yeah.
So a lot of those mental gymnastics, I guess you can do stuff like that. But on the other side of the same coin, I know a lot of people who also just maintain paying for all of these services.
Yeah.
and they don't let it go. So I have beat this channel into submission over and over again, talking about reorienting your focus to either investing in or learning how to leverage technologies and skill sets and knowledge bases that can put you in a position to be future proof, so that you're not expendable when new and emerging markets come in and take over for old markets, so that you're not replaceable, so that you don't get laid off, so that you can still command a healthy salary as times continue to rapidly fluctuate and change.
Yep.
I don't need to go down that road anymore. I've beaten that into submission. So for this particular video, what I would say is people need to take inventory. There's a lot of things that you can do to curb excess fluff in terms of your monthly, weekly, annual expenditures, so that you can have a lot of that disposable discretionary income to tackle some of these things that are concerning you, if you really are that afraid that you'll be working until you're 90. And I agree, that's not ideal for anybody. But I do think that the prospect of working until you're 90, quote unquote, is more and more realistic, not just because the world is rapidly changing and people are unable to keep up, but also because a lot of us are paying for a lot of garbage that we really don't need to pay for.
Yeah, man, 1,000, bro. And so, yeah, just teaming that up with, betting on yourself and learning on the new things. And also, while you're learning these new things, taking self-inventory on the things that you don't need over time, year over year, you're going to be the person that's in the green, while everybody else is tapering off or staying where they're at. But honestly, in today's market, if you're staying where you're at, you're getting broke.
Yeah.
So you have to bet on yourself in more ways than one. But again, the beautiful part about all of this stuff is everybody's on the same playing field. There's people right now that got 6-figure jobs and they will not have them 2 years from now because they won't need them. They won't need those people anymore. Only thing they do is just push papers anyway and delegate this person. They got a whole AI model that can replace that bastard. He get the schedule and payroll wrong any damn way. The AI ain't gonna do that wrong. You see what I'm saying? And that guy got his little whatever. Now he's overqualified for other things. But he need to know what the hell he doing when it comes to whatever's new and emerging. So I would just say, yeah, man, I think this is all a mentality situation, much like everything else, man. You have to have the right paradigm on life. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to be those people on the Titanic, because there will be people on the Titanic that are trying to pull you down, that's trying to get you in the same somber mood, that's trying to put, everybody over there, they look so, it's so many more people over there. But damn it, somebody's got to, jump through that window. Somebody's got to take that chance. And honestly, man, I would rather be the person that takes that chance, put myself out there and be the person that could potentially get away. But I know for damn sure if I stay on this damn boat, it's going under.
Yeah.
So I know where I have to go, and it ain't here. So you can't keep doing here and now daily, because that's how you're going to get caught in the foolishness later. So in order to make sure you're not here 5 years from now, you got to do stuff that you're currently not doing now. And you have to put yourself out there, whether it's a class, whether it's a certification, whether it's an X, Y, or Z. Hey, man, I always wanted to create a lemonade stand. Ain't nobody going to buy no damn lemonade. But if you always wanted to do it, damn it, get your ass up and buy some damn lemons and make a lemonade stand. Yeah. Now's the time for you to do what you've always wanted to do. And believe and buy into yourself, because everybody that was on those posts don't believe in themselves. Those are the ones that's going to get caught up in the foolishness. Those are the ones that's going to pay you because they believe in being a consumer, not a creator.
Yeah.
So there will always be people that are scared and crying on the Titanic. Just make sure you're not one of them. And if you die trying, damn it, you die trying. Because you're going to die anyway. And they're going to tax your ass when you're dead. So, yeah, man, that's my whole thing with this. And every single part of these types of conversations, man, is believe in yourself, man. And because I'm telling you right now, and of course, as you all know, man, if nobody else does, if nobody else believes in you, you have to. And if there's other people that's believing in you and they depend on you, you have to believe in yourself even more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, take heed, y'all, and do a life evaluation, man. But I would tell y'all, do not be these people that was crying in those comment sections. I say that.
Yeah, I guarantee you there's a good, healthy portion of the people who were on that Reddit post talking about how bad things are, who are paying out the wazoo for every single app.
Come on, bro.
They paying for the paid version of dating apps.
Come on, bro.
They're
They got
paying,
OS memberships.
yeah, they got OnlyFans subscriptions.
Come on, man.
They got all of the streaming services they paying for. It's outrageous. You can't imagine some of the stuff that gets automatically debited out of their account.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they can't live without it. Being literal bots, robots, slaves to consumerism. Consumerism will be the death of you and your retirement if you don't realize that.
1,000.
But a lot of people don't realize it. They just kind of subconscious. They don't even. The idea that they are doing too much consuming doesn't even occur to them. It's not even a thought that enters into their psyche, because to them, all they've known is consuming. So why would I do anything different? Being a consumer to a lot of people these days is tantamount to breathing. You don't even think about it. You just do it. But consumerism is what will hold you back from being able to put together that life plan and from being able to make sure that you position yourself to be well. Either because you don't want to let it go, or because you're too busy doing it that you're not putting together a better plan. So,
Yep.
Those are all the way facts on a lot of that stuff, man. People are throwing a lot of money and resources down rabbit holes that they otherwise shouldn't, because they really do believe that they are supposed to, which is an immaculate inception conjured up by corporations that has effectively worked, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. So, hey, let us know down in the comments, y'all. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Hey, was I a little too harsh on these guys? Should I empathize with them more? All right. Or do you guys believe us, or on the same page with us that, hey, man, you got to do a self-evaluation and honestly prepare yourself by, learning more about the new and emerging world. I think that's personally, me and JV Wins think that's the right way. But let us know down in the comments, guys. Maybe I was a little too harsh on those guys.
No, you were not. That is the message that a lot of those Reddit users need to heed. But if I know anything about people who be on Reddit like that, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, bro. We don't want to alienate our Reddit users here. Oh, hysterical, man. Hey, man, hit the like and subscribe. Oh, brother.
Yeah. Now this is some crazy stuff. So the individual that you see there before you is an OnlyFans model who has been charged with second-degree murder because, get this, a kinky fetish scene gone wrong with one of her subscribers resulted in said subscriber's death. Wow. So this is a wild situation. This woman is being held, I believe, without bond. She's obviously, I believe so, but I'm gonna read this just to make sure that that's accurate.
For sure.
And she's obviously, she's espousing her lack of guilt in this situation. But this is a wild bit of a situation here. So this says OnlyFans model charged with murder after subscriber suffocates during fetish filming. A series of odd OnlyFans subscriber requests went horribly wrong after a model on the platform recently received a murder charge, according to an arrest warrant affidavit reportedly obtained by Hollywood Unlocked. 31-year-old Michaela Brichet Rylarston allegedly received $11,000 in payment from 56-year-old subscriber Michael Dale in April of 2023 to engage in various sexual acts and kinks. Rylarston was 29 at the time. She then went to his Escondido home to perform BDSM acts like bondage, sadism, and more after a month of communication.
Damn.
Dale reportedly found Rolarstom's page via an escort service website ad. So this dude paid $11,000, and then after a month, finally had this stuff arranged.
Wow.
That's interesting. Furthermore, the OnlyFans model reportedly arrived at Dale's home at around 6 p.m. local time after various text messages and phone calls, and was with him for several hours despite his immediately apparent intoxication. According to police, his requests were bizarre. They allegedly included using saran wrap to make him like to wrap him to make him like a mummy, gluing women's boots to his feet, sealing his eyes shut with adhesive, and more. However, law enforcement noted no evidence that Dale ever requested Rolarstom to place a bag over his head and secure it, which eventually caused him to suffocate and expire.
Damn.
Afterwards, police and fire respondents arrived at Dale's home and found Michaela Brachet Rolarstom performing CPR on his unconscious body. She reportedly denies the notion that she put something over his head and expressed that this was the first time she engaged in something like this. After detectives found worrisome videos on Rolarstom's cell phone, she claimed to have recorded these acts for her OnlyFans page. Per the Daily Mail, she reportedly runs this account along with her husband, Brandon, with whom she shares 3 children. Meanwhile, not much other than information became publicly available about Michaela Brachet Rolarstom as a result of this situation, other than her San Bernardino County residency. Police said that a plastic bag sealed over Dale's head for 8 minutes after the San Diego County Medical Examiner's Office's conclusion that he died of homicidal asphyxia. Escondido police arrested Rolarstom on February 19th on second-degree murder charges. Following a not guilty plea, she remains behind bars with no opportunity for bond. So yeah, no bond. And so these are pics of this woman here, Michaela Rolarstom. Just to give you an idea, I'm guessing this gentleman here is her husband. Yeah, it is. And there are their 3 kids there, and here's what we got going on here. So no need to play those clips. They don't really amount to much with respect to this situation. So what do you think about this wild situation here, man? Kinky fetish filming scene with OnlyFans chick gone wrong.
I mean, honestly, I don't know how she thought putting a bag over his head for 8 minutes. Like, I don't understand how she didn't think that would be deadly. Listen, man, when you're dealing with these kinks, now this, unfortunately, I've heard of situations, where people passed away, trying to self-grandize and, hooking themselves up with electrodes, doing other things, and things went wrong. And it's like, that's a hell of a way to go out too, by the way.
It really is.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Steve from finances? Like, yeah, man, he just put a battery on his balls and, he shot himself to death. You know what I'm saying? That's a hell of a way for everybody to know what you was into. And so this guy here, man, this is, I guess it's just an evolution of those types of things that you kind of hear about on some weird stuff where, the guy was into a kink, man. And I guess her only leverage in this situation is to say that, he may not have texted that he wanted a bag over his head, but, in the heat of the moment, he asked for it. And I don't know what else to say, but, yeah, man, I used to work for, a content, a content platform. And, part of my job was monitoring the content. And any fetish you can think of, dude, people are into that wild stuff, dude.
Amazing.
I mean, and yes, so it is an actual thing that people like being wrapped up in saran wrap and like their whole body. And you just poke a hole where their mouth is. Sometimes you leave their nose sealed. And then there's a whole thing. And so my job was to sit there and, you know, monitor regular videos. And when those wild things came through, I had to handle it, you know. But these things are bigger than you think, unfortunately. So there's a lot of people into this wild stuff. This guy paid 11 bands to get unalived.
Crazy.
I mean, this is outrageous stuff, man. So a 56-year-old man. And this is another thing too, bro, because whenever we talk about OF, bro, we pretty much, at least me, I'm always dealing with millennials and, you know, slightly, you know, Gen Xers and stuff. But it's boomers too, man. It's boomers too out there on that you know, paying for booty. And so
11,000.
Bro, it's this lady, my old lady was watching some reality show, or some lady from, what was it, 90210 or something like that. I don't know that lady's name, but she's an older woman, you know, real crusty looking, but she was bad back in the day, I guess. But she got her OnlyFans page, and so did her daughter or whatever. And I'm like, who's paying for her OnlyFans? Who wants to see that crusty ass? But there's guys in their 50s, 60s, and stuff like that was lusting over her when she was on 90210, and they paying for her OnlyFans thing. So this guy here, you know, even though this young lady's young, it was a 56-year-old man paying to get his kinks off. So yeah, man, it runs the gambit out here when it comes to people with their weird fetishes, man. Honestly, bruh, I think that this is probably made for TV type stuff. You're going to see something like this on some type of thing getting played out and re-dramatized, bro, because you don't get no wilder than this. And it actually have a twist of mystery to it because, well, did she actually do this on purpose, or was this actually an accident? So this got Hollywood written all over it, bro. But what are your thoughts, man, on the OnlyFans air quote model out here accidentally unaliving a client by suffocating them?
This does have Lifetime movie written all over it.
This got stuff written.
Yeah, over I can 100% see years down the line them making a movie out of this and putting it on Lifetime. This is a Lifetime. This is a Lifetime movie, straight up. Mm-hmm. Also, bro, if people are paying to look at Lunel on OnlyFans,
that's fair.
Yeah. They'll pay to look at some chick who used to be bad on 90210.
Hey, shout out to Lunel, man. I done busted it wide open. That's crazy.
So if they paying for if they paying to see Lunel on OnlyFans in that bathtub, I think what Kaya called her esophagus or whatever she called her. Then there's gonna be people paying for that 90210 booty too.
That's true.
As crusty as it may be.
That's true.
Remember the old TV show Kung Fu?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So the guy who was the star of Kung Fu, David Carradine, he died in the same, like what you just described. That's what happened to him.
No way.
He was filming a movie in, and I'm not making this up, Bangkok.
Come on, bro. I can't.
I'm not trying to laugh, but I'm not making that up. I promise you, I'm not making this up. He was filming a movie in Bangkok, and he was trying to get into one of his kinks, and he, hung himself from something in the ceiling and ended up dying of asphyxia. That's how he died. And it was like a kink fetish type deal going wrong.
What's his name again?
David Carradine. That's the guy who was on Kung Fu, David Carradine. That's what happened to him. So, that's a real life example of exactly what it is that you're describing, bro. you reading it?
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Yeah, dog. Yeah. So it's, bro, honestly, we discuss OnlyFans here, and I have my thoughts on OnlyFans. I don't really care for it. I'm not a fan. I don't like what it represents in terms of the proliferation of the modern sexual marketplace, all of that good stuff, blah, 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 blah. So I don't need to go down that particular path. But what I will say, and here's the thing for me, because this is a proclivity, right? This is a kinky thing gone wrong. So I'm not gonna sit up here and blame OnlyFans for that.
No.
People have had kinks since the beginning of time. There's been sexual kinks and proclivities, and people have indulged in those. That's nothing new. That's been going on for a very, 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 very long time. OnlyFans didn't create this. However, I do believe, and I've said this before, sex working is being aggressively mainstreamed. The sexual marketplace as something that is redeemable, not lacking in an absence of morality, is something that is being aggressively mainstreamed. Therefore, the utilization of things like OnlyFans is being aggressively mainstreamed.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? So when you have something like this being aggressively mainstream, you're creating an environment in which you open up the door and make it a lot more easy and accessible for people to engage and indulge in their kinks and their fetishes. So now we have a proliferation of sexual deviancy. Sexual deviancy has always been a thing. Sexual deviancy didn't start with OnlyFans. It didn't start with Instagram models. It didn't start with flying chicks out. All of this stuff that we talk about, sexual deviancy wasn't created by that stuff, but that stuff is exacerbating sexual deviancy exponentially.
Agreed. Yes.
It's exacerbating sexual deviancy exponentially.
Yes, it is.
So as this stuff becomes more aggressively mainstream, with the internet saying it's okay to do this, it's cool, everyone does it. Yes. With your feed saying it's okay to do this, everyone does it. With your bank account saying you have enough money to spend on it, it's cool, everyone does it. You know what I'm saying? You're listening to people who are your favorite influencers and podcasts talking about, I subscribe, I do it too, you should do it, everyone does it, it's all good, it's okay. So as this stuff continues to become aggressively mainstream, I believe we will see more of this happen.
I agree.
There's no reason to believe, like even if you're curious about some of this stuff, there's no reason to err on the better side of judgment and not sort of allow yourself to indulge in this stuff. More and more people are just going to start doing this because it's just everyone does whatever they want. You know, that's where we are with everyone doing everything that they want. So that's how I see this. It's not that OnlyFans created this environment. It's that OnlyFans and things like it are exponentially exacerbating the advent of it. So everything is fair game, no holds barred, free will. Everybody does whatever they want, right? And that's the kind of world that we want to live in. So this is going to be another byproduct of that. Ancillarily, it's going to be a lot more people indulging in a lot more weird, kinky kinks. The only difference is we used to think of them as weird, kinky kinks. Now it's just going to be, it is just simply going to be is.
Yeah, right.
It's just going to be what it is that people do. And there's nothing weird or kinky about it because the prevalence of it is so much so that there's no reason to think that there's anything strange or abnormal about it.
No, bro, you hit the nail on the head. And because I was going to also mention that is that just with the proliferation, and you mentioned S work, but also just with the normalization of porn over the years, once people get into that addiction, they're going to need something a little bit more spicy in order to reach that dopamine level.
Yeah.
And so the regular stuff ain't doing it for you no more.
It ain't gonna cut it.
And that's the next thing. You gotta start going on a strange side of town. And some of that stuff. And then what ends up happening is when those people go on a strange side of town, they get that same feeling of interest and intrigue that they initially had when they first started watching normal stuff.
Yeah.
So then they take that level of whatever as, oh, I like this. No, the sickness, and you like that. And then what ends up happening is people get further and further down that rabbit hole to the point to where they want to get tied up with whatever stuff. The wildest thing I said, I'll keep this as G-rated as possible. But the wildest thing I seen on the I seen some videos. All right. I was making fun of Young Miami earlier, bro, but I seen some porta potty stuff. I've seen that. And people, you think that the guys would be the nasty ones. The guys are the sick bastards that are into that. But then you'll see the willing participant women get involved with this too. I was like, y'all are equally as sick. Now, what made you do that? It can't be for a check. But hey, I digress. One of the wildest things I've seen, man. This guy had a like a tube. He inserted it in himself, like an enema. And but it was blowing air in his body to the point where his gut would just get enormous. And he had this like control module where he can control the flow of air. Why was I watching it that long? It was my freaking job. I had to watch that garbage. But I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, this is outrageous. Who the hell's watching this? And who the hell's getting off on this? But the thing had crazy a number of views. Probably a lot of people just freaked out by it. But I'm sure there was people watching that. Well, there's a whole category of it where there's just people doing it. And I was like, well, how did it get this bad? And I think it's because, like I said, it's from the normalization of corn. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, with this new wave of S work, it's going to get even more deviant. And so it's going to be the average person, where they're just into some kink now. And that used to be reserved for a percentage of people. But it's going to spread over. There's more people into feet now. That used to be a reserved thing where it's like, you can like a pretty toes on a woman, but you didn't have a thing about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because who don't like pretty toes?
Right. Yeah.
But there's people that got things about it. Yeah. So I'm just telling you right now, man, you're absolutely right. So these OnlyFans didn't create it. Instagram didn't create it. These corn sites didn't create it. Mm-hmm. But what they did was they fed the beast.
Yeah.
And then the normalization of it, the lack of shame now that goes on with all of these things and consuming it has now created a wave of madness. So honestly, when I heard the story, yes, it was wild on one hand, but on the other hand, it was like, makes sense to me.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, man, 2025, baby. Y'all be safe. I'll say that, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I wasn't really, I wasn't appalled. And when I say I wasn't appalled, I basically mean I was not surprised.
Right, yeah.
Because it's, why not? Because, have there been, this stuff has been going on for a long time, and people have there's always been things gone wrong with it, accidents, where unfortunately something went wrong with the kink or the experimentation or whatever, and people got hurt. But, I think the aggressive normalization of human hypersexualization, period. You talk about this all the time. Everybody is over sexualized, and I do agree with that. I think between the entertainment that we consume and the stuff that we look at on a daily basis right in front of our faces on our phone, I already told you, bro, I cannot go onto my YouTube. And I'm not searching for this stuff. They just put it on my page. I can't go onto YouTube without seeing something involving some woman, and the innuendo, the underlying undertone of the video is sexual. I can't go a minute. I can't log on to any of these apps without seeing this. I'm not searching it. Why? Who's paying to put this in front of my face? I'm not searching for this stuff, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's and it's weird too. So like I look up a lot of gym videos, workout videos. Like right. I look up a lot of content creators who do exercises that I'm trying to get into at the gym, but it's usually men, and it's just guys doing workout stuff. 2 days later, all over my homepage on YouTube, I'm inundated with shorts of these skits involving the gym. And the skit is always some big booty chick with a pretty face with all her makeup doing something at the gym. Every time. So I feel you when you talk about people being over sexualized. And it's not just, and for anyone who is unaware of what Dogon means when he says corn, replace the C with a P. That's what he's talking about. But bro, it isn't just the corn. It's everything. It's the full frontal male nudity in all the TV shows.
Unbelievable.
It's it's your feeds in your Instagrams and the TikToks of everything being all of this. Even when they're trying to sell you something random, I believe the undertone is sex. Every time I'm being sold a product via an ad on my YouTube or my Instagram, and the person in the ad is always a very attractive woman, you know what I'm saying? And I can see her, like, that's not a coincidence. There's no accident there. I can just as easily get an ad with a guy talking about a product. It's a product, right? Why is it always an attractive female? There's no coincidence there. Everything being given to us, even stuff that's not sex related, is sex related. So we're all being sexualized, and because we're all being sexualized, we're being fed this stuff constantly, and we're being desensitized to it. So whenever we're encountering things like OnlyFans or subscribing to this or watching these kinds of videos, it exacerbates our curiosities. It amplifies our penchant for wanting to explore things that we otherwise wouldn't have explored if we weren't hit with so much stimuli on a daily basis.
Yep.
So yeah, none of these platforms or these apps created this stuff, but they are exacerbating it exponentially. The proliferation of the modern sexual marketplace is going to drive people into the dirt. It is reinforced by how much overstimulation to sexual messages we're being given. So yeah, man, 100%. I'm not surprised by this stuff. I think it's crazy to see that somebody paid 11 racks for this kind of stuff. I mean, I don't get it. And I can't even use age as a reason because the guy is 56 years old. Right. So this is just purely somebody who's just into this kind of weird stuff. but yeah, we're gonna see more of it, especially as we continue, as the years progress, to live in this world where everything's deregulated, everything is aggressively mainstream. Hypersexualization is being aggressively mainstream.
Yeah, man. So hey, y'all be safe out there. If some of y'all dudes got them accounts and stuff, man, as we always say on here, man, get off the dope. You know what I'm saying? If you want to keep, you know what I'm saying, or if you're gonna keep going, bro, just reduce it. Yeah, just reduce it. I'm realistic, bro. Some cats gonna be like, hey man, the hell with it. You ain't gonna tell me not to watch XYZ. You know what I'm saying? But if you do watch it, XYZ or whatever, greatly reduce it. Or, you know what I'm saying, one of these days, you're going to end up like David Carradine. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? With just out here wilding out, bro. Just, you know what I'm saying, taking it to the max. And you don't want to be that guy. So, yeah, be safe, y'all.
Yeah, I don't mean to laugh, man. I'm not trying to make light. I'm not trying to make light of David Carradine or anything or any other such tragic, accident.
Right.
But it's just within the context of this conversation, because I can picture all of the basement dwellers getting off on all of this kink weird stuff.
Oh yeah.
And you think it's a niche thing, and it's always niche until it isn't niche anymore.
I don't get that, bro. Until it comes mainstream. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, bro, 15 years from now, the stuff that we thought that was just like, hey, that's a little off the wall. When that becomes the norm, you know what I'm saying? Because there's been some stuff. All right, within the last 15 to 10 years, 5 years, that was like, man, you said that 15 years ago, both men and women would be like, the hell, I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
Nah, you ain't even in the game if you ain't doing that. You ain't even in the game, bro. She gonna look at you like you crazy. What you gonna do that? Yeah, man, the game changed, y'all. So be safe out there. Have some standards. So you don't get caught in the wind, man. Lord have mercy, man.
Hey, listen, bro. Rest in peace to David Carradine, man.
Yeah, man,
Rest in peace.
you know what I'm saying? That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Sheesh.
And on to Miss Felicia Rashad.
Nastiness. Yeah, man.
Yeah, on to Miss Felicia Rashad, who jumped onto the Breakfast Club, and they talked about a litany of subjects, pertaining to her expansive career in the entertainment industry, being an esteemed actress.
Right.
But one of the things that caught everyone's attention was when they got onto the conversation of talking about ways in which women dress. And Felicia Rashad basically expressed her views on how women today no longer dress with grace. And a lot of people had their thoughts and opinions on this. And, we'll play a little clip of what she had to say there. But this says, Felicia Rashad says Gen Z women no longer dress with grace. Online fans of the Breakfast Club had mixed responses to Rashad's comments about young women's style. Felicia Rashad, a 76-year-old actress and singer, sat down on the Breakfast Club on March 20th and slammed the way Gen Z young women dress today. Rashad spoke with DJ Envy, Jess Hilarious, Lauren LaRosa, and Charlamagne the God about everything from young women's style of dress today to acting and the late Chadwick Boseman's legacy stirring online discourse. Charlamagne began in the viral clip. You came up in an era when dignity and grace was everything. You ever look at how wild Hollywood is now and think to yourself, boy, y'all got it easy. Y'all wouldn't ever get away with what we did. Rashad responded, well, you have to look at Hollywood and I'll look at how young ladies dress. So I'm going to actually skip through this because I want to, play the clip. So let me go ahead and just stop presenting this real quick because I do want to come back to that. And I'm going to go ahead and share this other one of her actually saying this. So here is Felicia Rashad on the Breakfast Club during this brief part of the overall interview when she's talking about, younger women and how they dress and lacking in grace and so on and so forth.
Came up in an era, Miss Rashad, where dignity and grace were everything. But you ever look at how wild Hollywood is now, and you just think to yourself, boy, y'all got it easy. Y'all wouldn't have got away with that in my day.
Yeah, you'd have to look at Hollywood. I could look at the way young ladies dress.
No, I should have worn some other pants.
You got your
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
elbow, shoulder over here. You want my coat?
The young ladies are so beautiful. They're so beautiful. And something has happened in popular culture. And I don't mean to be critical, and I hope young ladies listening don't take this as personal criticism because I don't mean it that way. But you're young queens. I'm taken aback when I see on a college campus young women dressed in strips of clothing. But more importantly than that, no man wants his woman to be out like that. Right?
I grew up on Method Man saying, wearing 3/4 of cloth, never showing your stuff off. Boo.
That's right.
But not only that, it's like there's today's designers. I mean, there's ways. There are other things, and I just
leave something to the imagination.
Yeah,
it would be nice.
Some things are for my eyes only.
Yeah, and like you said, there are ways of being sexy without showing so much.
Oh, please, and that's really not sexy.
Now, it seems reasonable enough to me. I do want to go back to the article real quick because I do want to read a couple of the people who commented on this. Read a couple of the comments rather. So the viral clip of Rashad on the Breakfast Club was reposted to the Shade Room, and the comment section beneath the post blew up with discourse about her comments. One user supported her sentiment, writing, "Elegance and class are so underrated nowadays. Felicia Rashad embodied all of that." Another wrote, I remember being a child and I couldn't wait to get old enough to carry a briefcase and wear power suits to work because of watching attorney Claire Huxtable. She exuded so much beauty. Others expressed their discontent with the way Rashad slammed young women. One user reminded commenters that Rashad also defended Bill Cosby, so I would tread lightly. The narrative of women centering their decisions around men's approval is so tired. That's why I'm glad the new generation is moving away from it. Another pointed out that the age gap between baby boomers like Rashad and Gen Z has led to a disconnect in fashion trends, and that clothing items don't seem to change how women are treated in the community. That generation was covered and still got abused and treated horribly. One day, as a community, we're going to address the real issue, but I digress. So I just wanted to read a couple of the dissenting comments. And I'm gonna come back to that. But what did you think about that? What did you think about what Miss Rashad had to say?
I mean, of course, I agree with Sister Rashad right there. And by the way, you know what I'm saying? I caught a healthy chunk of that interview, man, and yeah, man, she was dropping jewels on there. So it was a decent interview. You know, when Breakfast Club just get out of the way and let people talk that got something to say, it's pretty decent. So she was dropping some jewels on there, and this was one of them, man. And you know, I couldn't agree more. You know, but of course, you know, you know, I'm some, you know, chauvinist pig, you know, misogynist over here that doesn't want women to be free, apparently.
Yeah.
Listen, I would say that, of course, yeah, leave something to the imagination. Don't go everywhere with your ass out. And you'll get respect. But, you know, for those dissenting comments where it was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, y'all was fully covered or whatever, y'all still getting abused and treated horribly. And, you know, for those people with those smart ass comments, so what do you think? Showing your ass gonna make you feel better about getting your ass whooped and treated horribly? Is that what we're doing right now? So to me, honestly, I don't see what any of those people that had, especially, you know, you sitting there talking about she defended Bill Cosby, like what the hell does that have to do about you having some class and some standard about yourself? So so those people that have those comments, they always go for some type of low-hanging fruit in order to make them feel better about somebody telling them they have to be accountable and have standards. And nowadays, whenever you do tell somebody to have standards or some level of decorum, okay, you know, you're being called the one that's out of pocket. And we talked about this low key kind of earlier when I was talking about with music and stuff, and there's just no standards. That's across the board.
Yeah.
There's the lack of standards is going on everywhere. So when it comes to how to dress, how to carry yourself, how to be respectful, like there's none of that now. And honestly, the more unhinged you are, the more you are rewarded in this psychopathic culture. Like, you know, the more narcissistic you are, the more you're on, you know. And the psychosis of that we cover on a weekly basis here, you know what I'm saying, is mainly coming from people who are on. So it's refreshing to have somebody like Felicia Rashad, somebody that was in the industry, somebody that was actually in Hollywood, you know, still moving around with grace and dignity. If there's anything you can take from Felicia Rashad, you can say she agreed with Cosby. You can say anything else. But one thing you can't disagree with, that this woman walks around gracefully. She has class. She's always had it. So why disrespect that? So, and if there's one thing you want to hear from a woman, you know, from like Felicia, it's to how do you carry yourself like that? And so for her to say, hey, you know, it starts with how you present yourself, I think I would take heed to that. So honestly, I agree with her. Of course, those dissenting comments, I do not agree with those. But those are just my initial thoughts of Miss Felicia Rashad setting a record straight. for all of the scandalous clothes that you see nowadays. And by the way, like you said, leaving nothing to the imagination. I mean, just going to the grocery store, okay? You'll see a woman, I mean, just naked. I mean, naked. You know, either with the short shorts or they're wearing clothes with nothing underneath where you could just see everything. And they call themselves coming from the gym. Bro, I don't know how you live in the gym, boy. That thing crazy. Because they call themselves coming from the gym and then going grocery shopping. And so you ain't wearing nothing. But yeah, man, nothing to the imagination. Everybody's in scantily clad. Yeah, man, it's just the way of the world. But what are your thoughts, bro, on what Felicia Rashad had to say about you know, the current state of modern women dressing, and honestly what some of the people in the comment section had to say? What are your thoughts, man?
Of course I agree with her. A couple things here. And the only reason why I want to address the dissenting comments is because I imagine that those comments speak for the lion's share of people who don't agree with what she had to say.
Absolutely.
So, you know, first of all, Rashad also defended Bill Cosby, so I would tread lightly. The narrative of women centering their decisions around men's approval is so tired. That's why I'm glad the new generation is moving away from it. Okay, so first of all,
Lord have mercy.
Her defense of Bill Cosby is irrelevant to this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That is a redirect. You know how I feel about that BS communication tactic. One has nothing to do with the other. That is Charles Barkley saying you shoot bad from the free throw line, you need to work on that, and a person saying you didn't win championships. Right. What does one have to do with the other?
Agreed.
Do you shoot poorly from the free throw line or not? Yes or no? Is what he's saying correct? Yes or no? So why are you trying to redirect the conversation elsewhere? So right away, whoever commented on that, you dismiss those people as people whose opinions shouldn't even be taken seriously or listened to. That's ridiculous. It's irrelevant to the conversation. Furthermore, this notion that you know, the narrative of women centering their decisions around men's approval is so tired. So according to that logic, women dressing without grace is symbolic of them making decisions independent of men's approval. Make that make sense. What does you dressing gracefully have to do with men's approval? I would even take it a step further. If you're dressing like what she's describing, if you're dressing thought pocket, if you're wearing the whore's uniform in public, I would suggest that you're doing that for the attention of men.
Exactly.
Therefore, your decision to dress that way in a roundabout way does center around men's approval.
Exactly.
Because you're doing it to elicit a particular kind of reaction from them.
Absolutely.
So you're cutting your tail off with your own argument. Doesn't even make sense. But see, a lot of these people are out of their minds. Correct. They just want to be able to do whatever they want.
Right.
There's no logic inherent in any of their opinions. They want to watch the world burn. They're like the Joker in The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Some people don't think about what they're doing. They simply want to watch the world burn. And that's what these people are. They just want to watch the world burn. There's no logical way to wordsmith your way around what she's saying here. You just want to dress like that because you want to.
Right.
Stop trying to apply some faulty logic of you wanting to make your own independent choices to it. Like, what are you doing? Don't tell me you dress like that because you're wanting to feel better about yourself. You're doing it to elicit a particular kind of reaction.
Exactly.
Now, whether you're dressing that way and you're going to actually cash in on that reaction and take it a step further, that depends on the individual. But the point is, dressing that way will elicit the reaction. You do it anyway. Therefore, I must surmise that you don't mind or, in fact, welcome the eliciting of that reaction via dressing that way.
100.
So how does that mean that you're not doing it in some tangential way for some kind of a man's approval? whether that approval is in the form of attention. I mean, that's usually what the form of approval is. It's a kind of attention.
Yeah, it's just attention.
Yeah, so get out of here with that nonsense. I don't want to hear that BS. so it's like I'm not buying this stuff. Like you're all of this mental gymnastics over this stuff. People just want to do whatever they want, and women want to wear whatever they want. They want to wear whatever they want. Period. Trying to rationalize why this is okay is wasted energy. Stop trying to. You're not going to trick me. You're gonna Jedi mind trick. You think you're gonna actually convince me that you're doing this to empower yourself or not doing it for a man's approval? You think I'm gonna believe that? That somehow these are different times and therefore dressing like this doesn't absolve you from some of the things that women used to go through previously? What the hell does that have to do with anything? Like I'm the biggest, going back to my generation, of course. I'm a big fan of the golden era of the black actress. So, Nia Long, Regina King, Angela Bassett, and some of the women that are around that same age, like Regina Hall. Who are some other ones? A whole gang of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a big fan of that era. That's the golden era to me. Those women didn't dress like that. Do you think them not dressing like what Felicia Rashad is describing took away from my desire for them?
No, absolutely.
Do you think I wanted those women any less because they weren't dressing naked in public all the time?
Oh, no, of course not.
Of course not. So what rationale can you possibly give me to explain this away other than I'm doing this because I feel like it and I just want to? Like what we were talking about with the music conversation, and it's like, look, man, at the end of the day, we can talk about divisiveness and all of this other stuff, but at the end of the day, some of this stuff is simple. There's no creativity, period. With this conversation, this stuff is simple. You can try to hit me over the head with logic and philosophy, talking about men's approval or lack thereof, what women went through before or lack thereof, throwing in Bill Cosby to try to confuse me. If you want.
Unbelievable.
But at the end of the day, you're doing this because you want to, because for you, it's redeeming to put on a whore's uniform.
Yep.
Like, let's just put the truth out there and be honest about it. But definitely do not tell me that, we need to get that dressing this way is symbolic of women moving away from doing things to seek men's approval. That is so ass backwards because you're literally dressing like that to elicit a reaction from a man. I guess if you're bi-curious, maybe you're doing it to elicit the reaction from women.
Yeah, they're doing that too. Yeah, they're doing that too.
But the majority of them are doing it to elicit, put it this way, the vast majority of them are doing it to elicit sexual reaction.
Yes. Whether it's male or female.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's what she's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The essence of her message is not doing that.
Correct.
But people don't get that. They take that as an affront. Oh, you're telling me I can't do whatever I want.
Right.
So of course I agree. Of course I'm buying what she's selling. Of course I agree with her. People are conflating grace with not being naked.
Correct.
Which is the dumbest thing in the world. Well, not people who take issue with what she said. They're conflating not being naked with grace. And the two are mutually exclusive. But tell that to somebody who wants to watch the world burn and do whatever they want.
Now, I agree with that. And I've said this before, and I forgot what topic it was, but I was saying that because I'm gonna go a little gal brain real quick. But when people are sexually off balance, they're easier to control. And the base animal thing that are in humans is sexuality. And when they throw off your base, you've got no foundation. So you end up wrapping yourself up in saran wrap because you're off balance. And being on your square. So what Felicia Rashad was mentioning was just being on your square as a human and carry yourself with dignity and class. from there, you got that little area, that sexual animal level under control. You have to have that animal level under control. For men, when their animal side is out of control, they buy sex. So they either buy it physically with money, they buy it with giving women attention, all kinds of ways men can buy sex.
Right.
That's when they're out of pocket. So if a girl put a thirst trap picture up, it's all those comments of the guy. They didn't physically buy anything, but they gave their physical or their emotional or spiritual currency to that woman.
Yep.
So they were buying something. When a woman's out of pocket, she sells sex. So you can sell sex literally like an S worker. You can sell it figuratively, like online, just showing feet. Or you could be one of those people that's selling it like emotionally and spiritually, like somebody that's claiming they coming from the gym with your ass hanging all out in the store. No, damn well, you could have put on clothes. But you're around here parading around naked for any kind of sexual attention. That's the crazy part. Like you just mentioned, like, hey, it could be male or female. They're just seeking sexual attention. And that appetite of feeding a sexual is you selling sex.
Right.
So you're out of pocket and out of order. And it doesn't stop there. So when that person tries to get into a relationship, tries to get into something functional, tries to get into something monogamous, this is full circle, try to get into something monogamous, they don't know how to keep it in the pants because they don't know how to control their sexual desires. So if it's a woman, she can't help but to sell herself. Oh, I just posted a picture online. I still love you. Why do you want this man's attention? You're out of order because you're trying to sell sex. Same reason why a woman gets out of pocket and get mad at a dude because he's sitting there lusting over women online when he's supposed to be sitting here monogamous. Hey, man, I was just liking her pictures. Yeah, but you're buying sex when you got me.
Same dudes who when they at the house and that girl go out or go to the store or leave the crib, they got to put on the corn.
They got to put on the corn. Where are you at, bro? So my whole thing is people are out of order. And naturally, when somebody like Rashad or anybody else calls out that thing, that demon that's hiding inside of you, the first thing it likes to do is defend itself. So of course, those people just ran to the comment section and said any type of fallacy type of argument in order to make themselves feel better about the craziness that they live with. So of course, those people left those comments. Of course, they didn't like what she had to say. And of course, they don't like what I have to say. But I'll tell you like this. All right. By being on your square, by being balanced, and by working with, and that's why you also mentioned they bombard people, even if you ain't trying to search the foolishness, they're just throwing it at you. You're just online, just trying to do your thing, and they're still trying to sell it to you. So of course, naturally, people that aren't trying to parse this out and trying to have a mind of their own or whatever, of course, these people are just falling victim to it. So yeah, man, you gotta have a mind of your own out here. You gotta be in your square. You gotta be balanced and understand that your sexual desires, your most animal level of yourself, is constantly under attack in order for it to control you. So yeah, man, just be on your square, know what's going on, evaluate things, and don't take everything for face value because it could be something else behind that. So Felicia Rashad telling women to dress with grace was just her way of telling women and everybody else in between that y'all need to be on your square as a person. And I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, there isn't anything wrong with it. So yeah, I buy this 100%.
100.
People just lack congruency. Just like what we talked about in the first topic, people who approach dating in a non-traditional way get offended when something non-traditional happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, you don't do things in a traditional way, so how can you maintain traditional expectations? It doesn't make sense. And people who are ruled by their sexual energy, consort with other people who are ruled by sexual energy. And when the sexual energy is done, when something happens to you as a result of a person who's ruled by their sexual energy, you can't maintain this position of being righteous or someone did something wrong to you because you're living in that same energy.
Correct.
You're a part of that same ecosystem.
Correct.
So I don't understand what it is that you're upset about. Like you got people who are posting thirst. You have people who post regularly, leveraging their bodies on social media often.
Mm-hmm.
And those same people will get upset if their significant others like someone else's pics on Instagram.
Right.
In all likelihood, that's what brought y'all together.
Exactly.
So it's like, you think that this person's going to turn this off? Like, what wild west world are we living in? But if you try to suggest that this isn't necessarily somebody being on Square, they'll just hit you with the redirects and make it about things that have nothing to do with the central conversation, all because you tried to tell them that they shouldn't be able to do whatever they want whenever they want. Which at the end of the day is my belief that what people want. People want to do whatever, dress whatever, dress however, think however, live however, go wherever. That's what it is, man.
Yep.
That's what it is, bro. So I just look, man, and this is the very last thing that I'll say. This particular kind of conversation isn't about challenging the merits of dressing with grace versus not dressing with grace. Rather, it's about challenging what is grace. That's what these anarchists want. They're not debating with, like, people who don't like what Felicia Rashad had to say. They're not debating with her whether dressing with grace is appropriate or whether not dressing with grace is appropriate. What they're really doing is debating the notion of grace in and of itself.
Yeah.
What they are trying to get to is, why can't I dress like that and not be graceful?
Right.
Why isn't what I am doing grace?
Right.
Why is your definition of grace the right one and mine the wrong one?
Sick, bro.
That's what it is. It's social deconstruction, where they're trying to make new definitions for things. So for hundreds of thousands of years, we always universally agreed this is graceful. But now all of a sudden, we want to deconstruct that to create a new definition of what grace is.
Madness.
So that we can live in a world where I am forced to look at a woman who's wearing the whore's uniform, but still think of her as elegant and graceful.
Yeah, you can have that.
Right. But
I know.
That's the kind of alternative reality that is that's the kind of alternative reality that is attempting to be constructed. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this conversation isn't even about challenging whether dressing one particular way or another is graceful. Rather, it's about getting into the weeds with redefining what grace even means. Period.
Crazy, man.
That's what they want, man. I'm not down for it, but I get their game though. Like, I know what you anarchists are looking for.
Hey, man, and let us know down in the comments, y'all. Do y'all agree with Felicia Rashad? Y'all agree with us? Y'all think we just old people stuck in our ways? You know, us boomers need to get with the times. Let me know, please.
They probably do think we are boomers. That's funny.
Yeah, well, we talk like boomers.
Yeah, which is crazy. Shouts out to Felicia Rashad, man.
Yeah, man.
10 toes down. And last but not least, we are going to discuss the crib, the homeland, Miami, Florida, naming several city streets after Miami residents or people otherwise associated with Miami. This is particularly pertaining to the hip hop world. So you're going to start seeing a lot of streets named after themes and concepts from some of the music from a lot of people who are prominently identified with the city of Miami. And the idea is to invest in the city because of this particular move. That's the philosophy behind it. So this says DJ Khaled, City Girls, Trina, and more are to be honored with their own streets in Miami. Miami-Dade County has honored hip-hop legends like DJ Khaled, City Girls, Trina, and Trick with their own street names. Last Wednesday, it was revealed that streets along 18th Avenue in Liberty City will be named after songs from Miami's most famous rappers. Commissioner Keon Hardman proposed the decision in an attempt to encourage economic development in our community. If you play this music to the people who are from this area, they are going to light up like it's the 4th of July. The essence of this is to let people know that this exists in Miami-Dade County and you should come and see it. The renamed streets will honor 29 influential artists who helped shape Miami's rich musical landscape. For example, Trick Daddy, DJ Khaled, Flo Rida, and Trina were all awarded their own streets for their immense
You
work.
didn't start your business to do taxes. Good thing
Where
we
that's
did.
coming from? I don't know where that
Over 2 million business.
Ad self-playing, bro. That's crazy.
I think I found it. Okay. That wasn't playing before. I don't know what happened there. Where did I leave off? For example, Trick Daddy, DJ Khaled, Flo Rida, and Trina were all awarded their own streets for their immense work putting Miami on the map in hip hop. Other names like Soul Ties Street, which is from Ball Greasy, Post and Delete Street from Zoe Dollars, and Big Money Baller Street from JT Money pay tribute to local talent who keep on redefining the city's hip hop scene. Hardman did suggest that People Change Terrace would be originally called Grind With Me Terrace, named after the 2005 Pretty Ricky hit, but Commissioner Eileen Higgins pushed back on the name. She said, "I don't want to walk down any street where somebody can say that to me without Although originally only hip hop stars were meant to be commemorated, soul and R&B legends Minnie Riperton and Betty Wright received their own streets named after them too. Check out the full list below. So here's this full list. Of course, all relevant name, all links are in the description of this video. In other news, DJ Khaled is gearing up to release his 14th studio album, Alarm of God. The high-profile producer said he had 2 new Drake songs on the record, 2 which the Canadian denied publicly. So, yeah, bro, what do you think about this, man? What do you think about our native land commemorating a lot of streets in Liberty City after prominent hip-hop people, Trick, Trina, City Girls?
Listen, man. I can't get behind this. I don't support this. Honestly, bruh, it's quite embarrassing. I don't even know if as a young person I would have been behind this. I think it's real Boondocks-ish. I mean, some of these names, bro. Big Baller?
Yeah.
Big Money Baller Street?
Yeah.
What is this? I Deserve It All. I Love My Dogs.
Run the Yard Street. Yeah.
Run the Yard. It's Your Birthday Street. And one of the things that this guy said, this commissioner guy said, he said, it's for tourism, because it can be somebody's birthday and they can come down to It's Your Birthday Street. Oh, okay. So they're going to come down to It's Your Birthday Street when it's their birthday. What about Chase This Money Street? DIS, Chase This Money Street. If I live on Chase This Money Street or pop that Thought Pocket Boulevard, how can I sit down and apply for a job, be taken seriously anywhere, try to sell real estate? You know what I'm saying? So to me, this is a little too much. He was better off giving these people their own days down there. Hey, today's Trick Daddy, I love the kid, Trick Love the Kids Day. Where we're having a day where we're giving out book bags and bikes. I would have been happier with that. But for him to name streets after some of these songs, come on. Now, he was gonna name a street called Grind. I didn't even know that. Grind With Me? Pretty Ricky get a street? They ain't make nothing but thought songs. And so, yeah, somebody's supposed to go down Grind With Me street. That's not like grind, get your money. That's the other kind of grind. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm glad they pushed back on that. City Girls getting their own street. Are you kidding me? So, Lovers and Friends.
Yeah.
Run the Yard. So, yeah, man. When I heard like We the Best and stuff like that, I was like, okay, whatever. But Trick Love the Kids and Chase This Money, Still the Baddest. This is horrible. And to me, this isn't class or grace. This is buffoonery.
Yeah.
yeah, on one hand, the Caribbean, you go, okay, yeah, our people that we grew up on is getting honored. But to name streets after this stuff, I don't think these are the people that we should be holding up to a high esteem in our own communities to add value to it. Like my old boy say, hey man, what's his 18th? What's his 18th Street or whatever? 18th Avenue. You know what I'm saying? He said, hey, that ain't that, people don't want to go down there for tourism anyway.
Yeah.
So, you pull up on that side of town if you want. All right. They is going to get this money and chase that money. They're going to chase your ass out of your car. But what are your thoughts, man, on, the city of Miami, Liberty City to be specific, changing the name of the streets to some prominent Miami songs? What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are this is status quo. Some of these are reaches, like Lovers and Friends is a reach.
It is.
That's a reach because, like, it says, we all know the song that it came from, but it says the song was made in Miami, therefore it counts. Like,
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's such a reach. Well, if Power Raising Canaan authentically represents Black and Latino communities,
that's true,
then these artists authentically represent these communities. So if you're, like I said before, it's the chief export. So on a national or perhaps even international level, if people who don't know too much about Miami want to glean certain things about the city, they can look no farther than an initiative such as this to tell them all they need to know. And they will come to formulate an entire perception of the city based upon an initiative such as this.
Agreed.
Now, is it truly representative of an entire group of people, even culturally? Of course not. But to the world, our chief export and the thing that we have the most to contribute to the world with is these artists and this music. So and whenever there's an opportunity to put ourselves on the map, the first thing that we are going to do is leverage these artists and this music in order to do so. Like I said before, in a vacuum, am I offended by this? Yes, only because of the lack of balance. So, for example, if there was another string of streets in Miami that were renamed after Black people who are from Miami, who did a lot of things in the world of business and finance, I'd be like, okay, fine, because it represents a tapestry of different contexts. So I can be like, okay, I can get down with that. We have our area over here where we're sort of celebrating what we did in finance. We have our area over here where we're celebrating what we did in real estate. We have our area over here what we celebrating what we've done with restaurants, food and beverage. And we have what we, this area over here celebrating what we did with small businesses. And then we have this area over here celebrating what we did with the hip hop and the rapper stuff. But all we have is the hip hop and the rapper stuff. So, this cultural homogenization that we have going on, which further perpetuates the idea that this is our culture synonymously, is what I have the problem with. But of course, I'm not surprised because that's what we're going to do with all of this stuff. And you can't blame white people for this one. Nope. It's our own elected officials who are doing it. Yep. Can't blame systemic racism for this one. Can't blame white supremacy for this one. We're doing this stuff willfully. Can't blame the system that the mystical they want us doing this. Can't blame the they. Where's the tinfoil hat on this one?
Hey man, don't ever question me, baby. I got one for everything.
Where's all of those regular talking points when it comes to this kind of stuff? So it is what it is. The only thing that I will say is, don't worry. This Liberty City, I've already seen this happen to Overtown. It'll happen to Liberty City too in due time.
Yeah.
Once 60 to 70% of that city becomes gentrified, they're going to get rid of this stuff.
Exactly.
It's only a matter of time.
Right.
So if you want to see a lot of this stuff go away, eventually it will. it's going to get whitewashed and turned into something European
Mhm.
or Hispanic
Mhm.
once they come in and just move all of those people out of there, gentrify the hell of it, and upsell the property value on that place 10 to 20 times and make it luxury living. So just give it time, because eventually it's going to happen.
And if the value wasn't already low over there anyway, this is going to drive it down even further. So yeah, it's just going to, if anything, it's just going to accelerate the gentrification process. So yeah, I think this is just absolutely buffoonery. You know, like I said, even the young me, bro, I don't know if I would have been behind this. You know, even when I was young, I knew who Malcolm X was. I knew who other people were. Hey, Malcolm X was in Miami. Why don't you just, you know, if you can name a street after, just because a song was made down here, why not have somebody that just even visited Miami? Just, you know, come on, bro. Like, let's be real here. But yeah, this is ridiculous, man. I don't stand behind this. You know, yeah, we're so much more than this. You know, in Miami, you know, just even the black people from Miami, man, we're so much more than these songs. So yeah, of course, if these things come on at a cookout, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna be saying some of the lyrics, bro. Like, yeah, I get that, you know, but you know, whatever city the electric slide came from, somebody's not naming it electric slide avenue, you know. They're not doing that, bro. So just because it's a hood classic don't mean you got to name streets after it. To me, I think this is gross. So, but yeah, man, I don't know what you guys think, man. I don't know if you guys think we're a little too harsh on the commish here or the city of Liberty City, because it's not really, you know, I mean, what the hell is this? Because they had to put this up for votes and people agreed with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell's going on nowadays, man. But what are y'all thoughts down in the comment section, man? You guys think we're a little too harsh, man? That these actually kind of some cool names, you know, chase this money. You know what I'm saying? It's your birthday. Love the kids. Let us know down in the comment section, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Yeah, wild stuff.
Yeah, my chief, I don't even want to use the word complaint, because the word complaining to me denotes unreasonable, like a lack of reason. I don't use the word complain when said complaint is reasonable. So I don't even like using the word complaint. But my primary issue with stuff like this is never the existence of this stuff. It's just the lack of balance in terms of representation. You know, it's no different than when I talk about the entertainment. I'm not mad that there's BMF and Raising Kanan and The Shy and The Wire. I would just like to see black people in space, more black people in westerns, and black people doing time traveling and riding on dragons and doing fly stuff like that too. Right. It's just the imbalance in terms of representation. That's all. So that's my only issue with it. The default whenever something like this happens is to always go to the rap and the hip hop every time. And I wouldn't even have an issue with that if it weren't for my belief that the music industry purposefully, upsells ignorant rap to a mass audience. I would even be okay if this type of stuff was happening if it weren't for my belief that was happening on purpose. But because I believe that that's happening on purpose, there's a lack of. I'm a little uncomfortable with some of it. So it is what it is. But yeah, let us know in the comments if you think we're a little off base on this stuff. But yeah, some of this is just weird, bro. Like You Go Girl Street.
You Go Girl. They did that.
Yeah, like if I lived on You Go Girl Street, that's what I gotta put on like all my stuff. Is like
right.
My tax returns and my W-2s are like, 1, 2, 3, 4, You Go Girl Street, Liberty City, Florida, whatever. I don't know.
Grind with me, Av. Come on, bro. What we doing?
It is what it is, man. What are you gonna do? But ladies and gentlemen, let us know, penny for your thoughts in the comments section on any of these topics that we covered tonight. Or if you're catching these videos individually, leave a comment and let us know what you think about the commentary in this or any other video. Let us know where you think we went right or wrong. We certainly appreciate it, so long as the comments are of a constructive variety. As always, my name is JV Wans. That esteemed gentleman over there is Dogon SS. Coming to you live and effective. We continue to kick this logical content. This is Conscious Approach, people. Check us out on the website, consciousapproach.com. Check us out on the Instagram page at ConApproach, ConApproach. Check me out on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. Be on the lookout for us as we create the TikTok page. We're going to share the videos there as well. And also, again, check us out on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Trying to be available any and everywhere. So if you're not in position to check us out on YouTube, if you're at the gym, if you're driving in the car, if you're otherwise unable to watch videos, put the headphones in, stream us on the streaming stations audio style. We'll take it how it comes, baby. We certainly appreciate the engagement. As I always like to say, have a mind of your own. Don't be a group thinker. Think for yourself. And until the next time, don't let these crazy people out there confuse you and have you thinking that just because you don't want to put on the horror uniform, it means that you are not dressing with grace. Stay solid out there. Stay righteous. Keep it moving, people.
Yeah. And the name is Dogon SS. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS, on YouTube, DraftKings, you know what I'm saying, MySpace, Facebook, any damn thing. All right. If it's a social media platform, Dogon_SS is going to be out there. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow, and all that good jazz in there. All right. And as I say on every pod, guys, all right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it plug. And don't let anybody get you off your pivot, including all those people out there that's pushing for social anarchy. All right. So until the next time, everybody, we greatly appreciate y'all liking, subscribing. All right. Leaving those comments consciously. All right. And hitting that subscribe button and that bell button. You know what I'm saying? Just in case y'all know when we go live. All right. So until the next time, everybody, more rings than Robert Ory. And we'll see y'all in the next episode.
Yeah. That's right. Oh, by the way, shouts out new subscriber openings. If you're watching this video, if you watch any of our videos, shouts out to you. I just wanted to make sure that I saluted you. They left mad comments on the Luigi Mangione stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, openings, man. They seen the stream and they instantly became a subscriber and started checking out some of the other videos on the channel. So salute to you. We certainly appreciate it, and we hope that you check out more of our content library, man, as we continue to kick this thing going. But yeah, to everybody out there, thank you very much. We don't run a cult, so we don't need you to agree with us. We just want you to be constructive and participate in the conversation. Otherwise, we will catch y'all on the flip side. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you later. Peace.
Hey, yo, shout out to Marcus Dudley too, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All everybody out there. Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm going to pull up on